Okay.
Hmm.
So, are you guys gonna share the recap again?
I'll let him do it. I'm looking over
Uh,
sheets.
Okay.
Oh no, my
Devin.
notes.
Yeah, have your notes out.
You
All this
fool.
time.
Alright, fine, I'll begin it.
I just need to open the
Alright,
text file.
so, that's okay. So, one of the main things. Oh, wait, I only write the important stuff. I didn't write what actually happened. I just write stuff that matters later on.
It's
Whoops.
okay. Explain,
Um,
summarize.
Basically, we had discussions inside the uh, uh, training grounds. What are they called?
Mm,
Uh,
pretty much. You
yeah.
went to the training room.
Well, yeah, but like the general compound.
Mm.
Ah, yes,
And
okay. No, memory's back.
wow, I was first. Damn. Alsana decided to go try to flirt with the dragon lady,
Stop flirting.
quote unquote flirt,
Uh,
also
sh
known as interrogate.
yes. Same thing
Um,
for her.
basically,
Yep, she had sent a letter the day before, kind of, asking, hey, can we talk again?
you
Uh,
like me, yes or no?
yes. Um, and basically with the caveat at the bottom that if you don't respond, I'm gonna go looking for you. Uh, Woke up the next morning, no response, so first place she checked was the original kind of trial area they were in, and found instead her grandfather, good old Myash.
Just go with Claddy.
No, never.
Master Club.
I refuse to surrender on this.
I
Um,
gave you guys the way out.
I know, I will not take it. Um,
You just didn't take it. You just went.
Miashta Kladu.
Yeah, better.
I missed the K, but it's okay. Um, Found
Not
him.
Mr. K. That's another character.
No. And kind of asked like, "Hey, is she around here or anything?" And basically had a little chat themselves. Let them know they're planning to head out soon, and that Tokuni is a bit to herself and might require some coaxing out. She's very to the point, and she did kind of apparently uh, had come from out of the kind of country map area, the map we have at least. Kind of like requested to be here and be with her grandfather for adventure kind of things. Where learn later she's got a sense of justice about her and things like that. Um, but he does kind of help Asana out and send a assumedly message spell or sending spell um, her way, given a location, and Asana eventually, not given a location, was told for her to go to where they're staying, and then Asana went back, waited for a bit. During this time, also, Kane and Calda went off on their own adventure.
Is that what you want to call it?
Sure. Um, they went to training grounds and encountered Samael, I believe, who we will never meet again apparently, but he has a name regardless. Um, did some training and betting and other stuff in the text chat I didn't fully read.
You're not that invested in our characters, Devin. How could you?
I was literally talking the whole time.
I'm shitting on you. It's fine.
This is your cue to surmise it, asshole.
They got hungry and they got lost.
Thanks. Um,
Consider it summarized.
Alsana did meet up with Tokuni eventually. She was on guard, arms crossed like no other. They made their way to this kind of like yoga training garden. I'm not quite sure.
Meditation room.
Meditation room.
Yeah.
But they had a conversation. It's very closed off. Doesn't like Elsana much at all, at least to start. Um, Kind of got to the point where she went to walk away. Elsana kind of cut back some of her crap and opened up a bit, kind of just as proof of, hey, I'm not the worst ever. especially after the little scare with, oh hey, what's that on your bracelet? Oh, just some god symbols, including evil ones, and be kind of jumping on the gun of that explanation and stuff about her, and eventually got to the point where they're kind of got Dokuni to begrudgingly agree to be pen pals after she gave Alsana a pendant on a little leather strip that is effectively an animal messenger spell, the same one that was used to contact the party in the first place. She was supposed to give it to them, originally didn't want to, but after the little chat she decided otherwise and gave it. So now the party can, well, now Asana can send messages to Tokuni. The rest of the party as a whole can send messages back to Threshold about things and locations of various shrines that they come across. And other individuals can kind of send mail to their own families and such that can be forwarded from Threshold to, say, Soren, not Soren, Walton, although we're in Walton right now, or any other places that people's mystery families are currently residing in. Speaking of Walton,
mystery family.
Yes. Speaking of Walton, we headed out the next day after. Well, no, we headed out. Did we head out that day? Was it the afternoon or the morning?
We headed out that afternoon and walked through the night.
Right. Yes.
You guys were late.
Yes, and we took Kane's boat at the beginning. Did we? And we walked from Utah, right? And kind of made our way from Utah over to Walton, kind of burned some night oil to get there. Oh, yes. Burned some night oil to get there, and be able to sleep in an inn rather on the side of the road in a camp, which was a good thing given later events. We had Alaris kind of check in on his family, and direct us over to the Copper Kettle Inn,
or at least Spiral Horn.
Spiral Horn, yeah. Run by the Copper Kettle family. Hold on, I'm typing Spiral Horn now.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. And met the whole shebang. Or most of the whole shebang, Lindell and Philomena, and their kids Miracle, Lavinia, and Denad. Woke up the next morning for breakfast and had the pleasure of meeting Alaris' family, kind of in front of us formally. After that, Alsana proceeded to poke and pry at Alaris and his backstory, and cracked him open like a nut because, my goodness, that was like all of it. Turns out he is a Hexblade Warlock, or Hex Weapon Warlock. He has a crossbow. After going into the forest at some point with the consistent blight issue that's been plaguing the town for a while now, kind of as a pack mule for the group of adventurers. The adventurers didn't come back. He made a mad dash back to town with a crossbow, and then a spirit, a force of nature personified of some sort. Exanthus, I believe?
Yeah.
Lended him power. He proceeded to defend his town and his wife and kid. All that good stuff. And as if on cue, we realized that the guard atop the Spiral Horn had fallen asleep as a bowl of oatmeal rolled down the stairs, along with a very concerned, I think it was Denad?
The bowl of oatmeal did not roll down the stairs.
Right, no, it was thrown in his face.
Maybe it was done. That was done. Jokes were said.
We weren't there for it. We can't know for sure. Schrodinger's oatmeal face. And
Schrodinger's oatmeal face. That's a new one.
Yep. And so ran down. Oh god, blight are attacking. Oh god, they're way closer, and there's a lot of them. than usual because the fucking guy was asleep. We proceed to walk out. Alsana flies up, gets a view, and yep, they're coming.
Yep, that is pretty much where we're starting, right here with combat. So I'm gonna move you guys over to the map, resize it. It is a big one. Get yourselves situated. I will note which building is the inn. You will be not far in front of it at the start. There are various villagers outside, but they've heard the alarm, and most of them
Snowy.
Yep, most of them are moving into buildings. You see briefly Aurora and Gage getting Aurora rushing Gage into a building about over here. If you are zoomed out enough to see my little arrow, if not,
Yep.
That's okay. However, some of the villagers are staying out. They're grabbing various weapons. You see, for the most part, they're crude. They're tools, clubs, slings, a couple of hand axes. There's a sickle, a pitchfork.
A hopeful person with hedge trimmers.
No, a couple hopeful people with torches. And there's just this beehive, this rush of activity as people try to form up in order to respond to this sudden attack. So, everybody, this is the inn, the Spiral Horn. You would have come out the front doors. You are somewhere in this vicinity. You can see where I am pointing. Drag and drop your characters, and then roll up initiative. I have got some NPCs to roll.
I believe it was that Alsana kind of took off in the air.
Yes, she can be up to 30 feet up. I'm going to say it was basically the equivalent of a round, and you did not dash.
So would around there be reasonable, or?
Fairly reasonable. Yeah, go ahead and put yourself there. That works. So, they're not going fast. These guys are here. Oh, they're not fast.
Oh, Alsana's pretty fast.
Dear God. Okay.
Music seems to be going okay.
Yep. It has only just begun, but yeah.
These are all villagers, right?
Yeah, all the little tokens you see with logs over the shoulders, that is a default villager token that I just grabbed and scattered.
Alright.
The blights are coming from...
Oh, they're even color-coded.
Yep. They are coming from, on the map, the right. Yeah, this maybe isn't exactly like north-south. It's a little bit angled because the south road should be going not so much east as west, so they're coming more from like the south and east than from due east. However, this is how it was oriented, so this is how we're doing it. I found this map, I edited it slightly, I did not make it. Alright, is everybody on the initiative order?
Yep, and I'm assuming this dark bit is the kind of fire pit that we were told about?
That is the fire trench. You in particular can see it. You're high enough up to see over some of these houses and so on. Everybody on the ground doesn't quite see it. Alaris would know its existence. Between Alaris's knowledge and Alsana being able to see it, you also would know, as a group, that there is not much in the fire trench at the moment in terms of fuel. It was used pretty recently, like a couple of days ago, to repel a smaller light incursion.
Right. One that made Alaris late in the first place.
Yes, and the weather being what it is, all the snow and frost on the ground, they haven't really been able to restock it. The blights usually do not attack this frequently, and in such numbers. So, with that, initiative is up. Kane, I believe, yeah, Conrad, you're doing Kane and Alaris. Okay, Alaris is first, I'll shift it.
You said his family is the one right here, right?
His family is right about in there. It is in that building. I'll say in
Okay.
this time, pretty much the streets have cleared of the non-combatant villagers by now.
Okay.
They are barricaded inside houses. They are blocking doors, shutting windows.
All right. In that case, he is going to, let's see, where can he reach? He's going to step down here for now.
Okay.
For good chorus battle music.
Oh yeah. I'll measure for you. There you go.
Yep, and he's going to aim at the light that's red to his right.
All right. Tiny little twiggy blight. It looks like a shambling mass of dried shrubbery.
All right. Well,
All right, that definitely hits, and you would think that a crossbow would do nothing against what is essentially a shambling plant. It's wood against wood, and yet that crossbow bolt pierces through it, and it almost explodes from the sheer force of the piercing damage. That one is gone.
It just
Alright.
Blown apart.
exploded the neglected house
Yes.
plant.
Yes, it did.
and let's see. There's another one almost directly to the right, further to the blue.
The blue
Is he
one
able to
right
see
up
that
here?
properly?
Let's see,
Directly to the
there
right
is-
of him.
Right there. 80
Right
feet.
here. Yeah.
There is a little bit of a tree in the way. It's pretty much right through the tree.
Okay, so he'd have a better shot at this one then.
Yes, he would.
Then I'll go for that one.
That was a clear field.
How much would, because I know, how much would Alaris know about the kinds of blight?
Alaris has experience battling them.
Yep.
He's probably seen him in a variety of situations. Basically, if you want to shout some question at him, I will judge whether he might know it.
Well, also, I just might ask, like, what's the difference?
That is a complicated question for the start of the battle. But if he were to shout back, by the way, the 12 does hit the crossbow bolt thunk, into these what seems to be crawling vines that make up this almost humanoid appearance of just tangled leaves and vines. However, it doesn't seem to. That first bolt exploded the twig blight. This one seems to be made of hardier stuff. Anyway, he shouts back that the twiggy ones are small, slow, so are the vine ones, but the vines are more powerful. The needle blights, watch out for them, they fire at range.
Yep, that's what I needed.
Alright. And I assume they're color-coded by which type they are?
Yes, they are.
Alright, so is blue twig?
Nope, red is twig, green is
sorry,
vine,
needle.
blue is needle, yes.
Yeah, okay. Alright, well he's gonna leave it at that, in that case. He's got his movement, his action done. So next up will be Kane. Who's gonna go up north instead. Right there. He's kind of taking half cover. Or he's gonna step back into it in a second.
Okay.
And he's got a clear shot of that blue one that I was aiming at earlier, right?
Let me see. It's yeah, I'm gonna say that outcropping of the building is kind of the tower up on the second floor, so you've got a shot underneath it. It is long, but you could make it.
Alright, well he's got a longbow, so he can definitely make it.
So be it. Try. That
Assuming he
hits.
hits
Yeah, that hits. It looks severely hurt. It knocks back a little bit, but you kind of see it creak its head up from the arrow stuck in its breast, and it continues to slowly lurch forward.
And then second one right where the first one would have landed.
Yep. Yep, and you pretty much split the first arrow down the center, and you take it down. I need to move it in order to see the little X. Don't mind it jolting about. There we go. I'm just going to leave it there. The second arrow is enough. It shudders and collapses into a shower of pine needles and bark.
Alright, then Kane will step back behind cover.
Alright, Alsana, you're up in the air. You see all this. What have you got planned?
Alrighty. She is going to use her 50-foot fly speed.
Okay. Get about there.
Yep, she's gonna.
Corner of the... Okay.
Yep, she's gonna get to about there.
I'll continue pinging it until you move. I know it's hard to keep track sometimes. There you go.
Appreciated. And she will range. 30 feet. Right.
Oh no, 30 feet.
Yep. All right. What else has he got then? That messes that up.
Plan B.
Yep.
Plan 3.
Plan B, Old Faithful. On the Vine Blight, closest to her.
Alright, what is Old Faithful? Frostbite. Okay, interesting.
Is that proper damage? Yes.
Alright. DC 15 Constitution saving throw. Let's go ahead and give that a try. Alright. It fails. It takes the cold damage. You see the frost shudder across it, and it seems to coat and actually snap a few of the vines that make it up. Not enough to actually slow it, well, not enough to actually, like, visibly hurt it, but you did something.
Don't you know
It's
it's
continuing.
winter? You should be dying off by now. And I think that'll be your turn.
Alright. With that, the needle blights are up.
Yep.
Now, this one, yeah, it'll get about there. And it is within long range of you, Alsana, because you are 30 feet up, but about 60, not 50 feet away or so. So it's going to do a disadvantaged attack with its needles. I take it a 14, does a 14 hit?
Yep.
Oh god, it does. Okay, 9 piercing damage. Let's see. That one, yeah, you're what's in view, and it just saw one of its brethren attack you, so it is also going to make the charge forward. I believe that actually is, yeah, it's still long range. It's still disadvantage. 8 does
Nope.
not hit, I'm sure. Alright, so that one follows suit, but this time you're ready for the needles, and though you are still kind of picking some out of your shoulder, you swing under the broom and let them pass over your head. And then there's another one over here.
Like 90% of my willingness to go out this far was the idea that I could deal fire damage on them. So, yeah.
Unfortunately.
You measure your shit.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard when I'm recording there.
It is a lot. And this one is also going to do a disadvantage needles attack on one of the commoners down here. Luckily, that also misses. You see one of, well, you guys don't see, Alaris might see one of the villagers dodge just out of the way with a little bit of a swear word. It's Calda's turn next.
Alright, Calda is going to throw a quick Shield of Faith onto Alaris.
Okay.
Which is
Make sure you-
+2 to AC.
Yep, make sure you keep track of that.
Yep. That's going to be their bonus action. And then they're going to dash over to where the rest of these villagers are. And head down to about there.
Alright, I will ping your location. Go ahead.
Oh, I've got it tracked on the
Okay.
next play.
Good.
Alright, and that's their action movement and bonus action.
Alright. Alright, time for the various villagers to make their brave attempts. Alright, most of them are still pretty far out, so they're going to end up using slingshots for the most part. And none of them are really looking to get real close, but there's still some attempts. He's gonna do an attack at disadvantage. He is going to kind of swing around here and attempt the same on that one. So I'm just gonna disadvantage and sling attacks. Twig Blight. Nope, Needle Blight. Let me see. Oh, that actually hits that one. Little rock. Thunk! Into the needle blight that just missed you, Alsana.
Alright.
This one is gonna scoot on up along the side of this house and probably attempt the same. Yeah, 50 feet out, so disadvantage still. Misses. As for the rest of these, yeah, mostly they're just gonna kind of scoot forward. They're 30 feet. That was weird. Why is it measuring weirdly? Okay, whatever. It's gonna be like that. Alright, I've done 2 attacks. Some of them can't actually see anything. That can do long range. That one can do long range. Long range. Yeah, slings have a good long range. So okay.
It's more like a Hail Mary
Alrighty.
range, really.
Yes, it is a Hail Mary. Very good. This is
Still.
on a Vine Blight. Let's see. That hits. Little dunk. 3 damage. We've got about 1 going on to this Twig Blight down here. Misses. And then about 3 going on to this Needle Blight over here. So that's a 1, 2, 3. Unfortunately, they all miss. The villagers are not unaccustomed to this, but it's still a little shaky the first time after a time. So, Twig
And
Blight's
after
turn.
this far away.
Yeah. These little guys. They do not have much they can do at a distance, so they're probably just gonna dash forwards. But for dashing, they're not that quick.
They just moved 10 feet. Oh, okay.
20. So, yeah. They're dashing
Actual
across
tumbleweeds.
fields. Yes.
Tumbleweeds with an attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, that's my trademark. I'm offended, Devin.
Let's see any more. Yeah, that one can't get to you, so it's just gonna charge towards this poor lone villager over there. That is going to be their turns. They're not close enough to do any attacks. They just used all their actions on moving. Vine Blights. They also shamble very, very slowly. This one knows that you are out of range, Alsana. So it's going to shamble up this way. This one is going to head generally towards town. This one, the same. Alright, that is their turn. Elaris is up.
Alright, Olaris is gonna focus fire on that Vine Blight to the bottom right. Mostly
Alright.
to the right, to the green.
Yeah, the one that he has within clear range. Alright, go for him.
Gonna make 2 quick shots.
That hits. Solid damage, but it's still up.
Alright, and let's see. For now, he'll stick to just 1 more shot.
Misses.
Alright, in that case, he's gonna step back to this villager and tell them to keep behind him.
Alright, the villager is so very willing to do so. Alright, I'm guessing Kane is up?
Mm-hmm. Kane is gonna go for the highest up vine needle blade up there,
Okay.
and he's gonna go with longbow.
Hit.
Then let me check the rules on something real quick.
Okay.
Hey, I know this track.
Alright, and then he's going to use Reposition Ally on Calda, so she can move half her movement real quick. An additional 3 damage to that Needle Blight.
Alright. Is there any range on reposition ally, or is it just any ally?
Nope, any ally.
Sounds good. Okay, and that extra 3 damage is enough to take that one down.
Alright. In that case, he's going to step to about right here. Does he have a decent shot on that other Needle Blight?
Yeah, I would say you do. You can just shoot up
Alright.
the line of the building, and the villagers kind of flattened against the side anyway, so...
Okay. And then
Oh, there,
push
that
on
hit.
top of that.
Okay, so, no need for the push, because between the superiority die and the piercing damage and previous damage done, that one is also dead.
Alright.
I can't believe I was worried about you guys. You're
If these
fine.
things get close, you might have to be.
Yeah, I started them far enough away. You're good. Sorry, was there anything else you wanted for Kane?
Yeah, he's just gonna move up to in front of this villager and just have a better view from there.
Okay. Altsana.
She is going to. She'll. Let's see. Start with here. I'm 30, so I can actually do it this time.
Alright.
Going to huck a little fire at the hedge over there.
Misses.
Yep.
Yeah, unfortunately, you huck the fire and a little bit of wind kind of catches it along the way, and it through the snow right at the thing's side. It looks down at it, and it looks up at you, and you see it raise its little twiggy claws and
But
swipe at the air. It couldn't get at you though. Couldn't if it wanted to.
And over to there.
All right. Is that all?
That is all.
Okay. There is a needle blight down here. The last one left. You've killed all the rest. Well done. And it is going to... Yeah, it's gonna get up to about there-ish. And it's gonna go ahead and name for Calda, probably. In fact, it's gonna do it at about there, 2 squares below the twig light. So, Calda is within regular range, so no disadvantage. That is a 22 to hit and 12 piercing damage.
yeah, that'll definitely hit. And Shield of Faith is gone.
Okay. Now that is all that Needle Blight can do, and it's the only one left. Calda is up next.
Alright, well, Calda is gonna come back with a vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna rush up 25 feet, because that's her speed.
Yep.
And actually, she's gonna stick to. She's gonna stick where she is. She's gonna use the glaive. First on the needle.
Alright. The needle, that definitely hits, and that is enough to take it down.
And the what's the little one? The bush?
Twig, yes.
Twig.
Little twiggy. Alright, that hits, and she just tears those twigs apart.
Okay.
Believe-
And yeah, that'll be it.
Okay. These villagers down here close to her were looking all set to charge up with torches, but she has now taken care of that, so they are just going to kind of rally around here, staying behind her. She seems to be handling this very well, and they are going to hold slingshots in case something comes within view. Because they can't quite see that vine blight around the house, but they know something's there. It's shuffling. Let's see. This one up here is going to do a desperate slingshot, no disadvantage at this twig blight coming towards it.
Damn.
Yeah, takes it down just enough. And Snazzer goes, "Oh, I got him!" And then he oh no, sees the Divine Blight and starts hooking it down this street towards perhaps safety.
Better than Vine Blight.
Yeah, this one over here is going to go ahead and do a disadvantage slingshot on that. So is the one behind Kane. So we're gonna... Boop, boop. Nope, miss. Don't even bother looking, that's a miss. You're gonna have this one. Yeah, he can't really get much place useful, but he'll move up to right behind Kane as well. So will the other. That'll be 2 more disadvantaged attacks on that same Vine Blight. It's the one that they have the clearest shot on. Oh, that 19's gonna hit, but the 3 will not. So 4 bludgeoning damage on the Viney. Alright. And then let's see. There's the one behind Elaris here. Gonna go ahead and try aiming for this Twig Blight. Disadvantage because he's not moving. Yeah. That missed. I believe that is all of them. So I've got 3 holding sling attacks in case something comes in view. Down by Calda. Alright, Twig Blights are up next. I gave you guys too much help. You could have done this without the commenters, I'll bet. Oh well.
But they should be there anyways, so.
Yeah, I know next time. Alright, this one's gonna get close to Kane, but not quite. You see this little bundle of twigs, this walking bush, charging up towards you with its claws held low. This one is actually going to reach you with its dash action, but it's not going to be able to do anything else. It's just right up in your face. This one here, heading towards, ooh, just out of reach. She's going to have to dash in order to get up to Elaris.
We have 20-foot movement or 10-foot movement?
20 foot.
Ah, okay.
Twig Blights have 20. And the others are dead. Vine Blights. These are the ones with the 10-foot movement.
Ah, okay.
So yeah, they are going to continue to dash slowly through the snow. Dashing through the snow. This is terrible.
Wow.
Uh-huh. I did
That was
self-confidence there.
That was like a journey in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, I said it and then it was like, yeah, no, that was kind of awful of me. So yeah, they are continuing to use all their movement to get close to people, but not quite. Elaris is up next. He's got a little twiggy thing right in his face.
Alright, and he does have crossbow expert, so he's just gonna take it out.
Alright. Now with that hit, that one, however, will do it. First shot goes right down into the ground. He kind of overcompensated for the closeness of it, and then the second right into its center, shattered twigs.
Alright, and as his bonus action, he's gonna use Hexblade's Curse on that Vine Blade.
Alright, go ahead and click it for me. This is going to be a first time.
Hold on.
I'm going to make sure that I'm going to think of the right things here. Alright.
Recharge on a long rest or a short rest?
Short rest.
Short rest.
Alright.
3 bonus to damage rolls. Score a critical hit on a 19, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. And you gain 8 HP if it dies, which is fun because he has taken no damage. These things have not hit anybody except for Alsana, I think, and Calda.
Yeah.
Alright, is that all?
I believe so.
Kane.
Alright, Kane is gonna bonus action switch to his glaive.
Mhm.
He's gonna tell
Good
the
choice.
villagers to focus on the Vine Blades, he'll take care of the small ones, and move back if they need to.
Mhm.
One.
Alright.
Second one.
Which one?
Sorry, I was gonna make the one close to the villagers take the first hit.
Yep, okay, so that one is shattered. The other one, sees the glaive coming, juke to the side as the glaive drops and the head actually scores a line through the frost and snow.
Alright, he's gonna step forward up to that
Okay.
cane.
Alright, Althana.
Alright, she is going to circle around, probably over to... let's do about there.
Okay.
That way I have some wiggle room if I'm not in 30 feet. Nope. Alright. Just gonna try the fire again.
Okay.
Come on, crit me.
Alright, that hits, and it does fire damage, but if you were hoping that this thing would go up like so much tinder, it doesn't. These vines are green and fresh. It does seriously hurt it though. It looks scorched, and some of those green fresh vines are shriveling. Vine blights are not vulnerable to fire damage.
Yep, I know.
Okay. However, you have done some hefty hurt. Anything else?
I think that'll be it.
Okay. Needle blights. Do I have any left? I think they are all dead. I'll go ahead and remove them from the initiative. Calda.
Alright, Calda is going to Branding Smite on their weapon.
5 radiant damage if they hit.
Then with that glaive, make the first attack.
Okay, that definitely hits, and you've got a total of 16 slashing damage. Another hefty hurt on this vine blight, but it's not dead yet. Oh
Right.
right, I forgot about these villagers pelting it with stones.
Ah, yes.
Oh well, that's enough. It takes it down. I'll say that she takes it down under a hail of stones from the villagers as they use their forgotten help actions.
And then she's gonna use... There's none more on this side, right? Yeah, so she's gonna use the rest of her movement to go upwards to check on everyone else.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? No, she's gonna cut across. Potentially distract.
Yeah. Okay. All good?
Yep.
Right. Commoners are gonna kind of wheel around here. You're gonna see a couple of disadvantaged slingshots on that one Vine Blight in a moment. This one is kind of moving up here to try and help support, as is this, but they don't have line of sight on anything at the moment. These 3 behind Kane are going to try and attack that one up there. So let's kind of go from top to bottom. So there's 1, 2, that hits, 3 for 1 damage on that one Vine Blight up there. And then there's a 1, 2. And they, okay, the 15 hits. And actually that Vine Blight's looking real rough. Okay, I think... Oh, there is 1 Twiggy left, and it's right in front of Kane, and it's going to be the only Twig Blight to attack anything in this. Yeah,
Nope.
10 to hit, no.
Oh, I'm taking shield off, but yeah, he's still fine.
There's this little crackling. It doesn't have a voice, it can't speak, but there's this cracking sound inside it that sounds frustrated. Vine Blight. Slowly lurching their way forward. This one is going to almost make it to Alaris. It's kind of around that corner of the building. It might have just a little bit of cover from him. This one heading ever towards Kane, and the villagers there is the only things in reach at the moment. Alright, Alaris' turn.
Alright, Alara's gonna tell this villager next to him to step back. But first he's gonna step here so the thing's out of cover.
Yep. Just get around the corner and shoot for him.
And... yeah, just gonna go straight for the crossbow. +3 damage and +3 to hit, I believe. Just check to make sure.
Definitely +3 to
nope,
hit.
nope, that's sorry, that's something else, never mind.
+3 to hit and crit on a 19. and you gain hit points if you kill it.
No, +3 to damage and credit 90.
Really? I thought it was to hit. Hold on. Where is that? Hexblade's Curse. You gain a +3 bonus to damage rolls. You're right.
Because it's, I think that actually should be, no, it's proficiency modifiers, yeah.
Okay, so go ahead.
Twin shots, 1.
That doesn't
Two.
matter. The first one is enough. There was
Okay.
not much left to it, so it is done.
Alright, in that case, he'll just hold back the second attack.
Mhm.
And I believe that is all.
Okay.
Except for stepping around, just to make sure.
Yeah. Fair enough. Kane is up.
Yep, Kane is gonna first just try to take care of the one next to him.
Yeah.
Once I find my glaive. There we go.
That hits, and it's enough. You shatter this twig blight into so many little pieces.
Alright. And he's going to step to here.
Okay.
And he's going to make another glaive attack. And
Alright, that's enough.
Oh, it's out? Okay.
It's out. You can save that superiority die. It's done.
Alright, in that case, he'll step back up to here and tell the villagers all to start moving back as they keep shooting their slings.
Okay. Althana. You got one
Alright.
left.
She's going to... she'll go for guaranteed damage. Frostbite.
Alright. Constitution saving throw off of a Vine Blight. Ooh, yep. 10 cold damage. And it's got disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll it makes.
And she'll just kind of see it assumedly kind of shambling towards and just look down and just... Good luck, brother.
He's just gonna look back and say, make sure all the villagers are safe.
Calda is up.
Right. She's gonna give just herself 5 lay on hands real quick.
Okay.
And go to meet with Alaris. Back around this side.
Alright.
That's her turn.
Yep. She looks around. She does not see any moving blights. There's plenty of piles of kindling and vines and pine needles about. As for the villagers, you've got 1, 2, 3 with regular attack rolls. This one can easily move up and get a regular attack roll. Let's see how much this takes. Oh god.
Ooh, it's 4.
That's a critical. Nope, it's not that low in health. So 3, 4. So let's see. The last 3 hit for 4.
10.
Yeah, for 10 damage. It is really rough looking. So in the meantime, this villager is going to kind of make it around this corner. He's got disadvantage just out of range of that, but let's see how he does. And he takes it out.
Alright.
Thunk. And
Love these guys.
final Vine Blight topples over and just collapses into a pile of plant life. For a moment, everything's quiet. And then the villagers start to cheer, clap each other on the back, and disperse to put their weapons away, drag the remains of the twig blights to burn, vine blights to probably be dried out and burnt as well. Start kicking the piles of needles to scatter them.
Alsana might kind of go and land down beside someone kind of dragging a few of them away.
Mm-hmm.
And just, if you could, I was hoping to get a few, just pieces off it, out of my own curiosity.
I mean, sure. They're not worth anything if that's what you're thinking.
Oh, well, who knows.
Yeah, take what you want, but just so you know, some of it's real good kindling, and it's not easy to get firewood this time of year.
Oh, no, not that much, don't worry. And she'll just take, like, two needles, 2 twigs, and kind of wrap it together in one piece of vine.
Right. You have done so.
Like about hand-sized.
Okay. Go ahead and put it into your inventory. Keep track of that. You've got a little bundle of twig blight remains.
Well, of all three, actually. If you
Oh,
could.
sure. Yeah. Yeah. However you need to label that to keep track of it, do so. Alright. And with that, the day seems to go back to relatively normal. Somebody shouts out an all clear, and you see doors and shutters start to open again. People start to come out of the houses, look around. You see little Gage, a few other children rush out of various houses, and with the caretakers behind them, gather up in the center and start chattering excitedly.
Question.
You guys are... Yes?
Do you want to take a small break to see if John gets here? After the combat, because...
Should be in the next 15 minutes, so he shows up.
Yeah, I expect you guys can probably fill the time with any kind of roleplay you
Alright.
would like.
Yep.
So, if you need a break, then sure.
No,
but
I'm
if
good.
Not,
I just
yeah.
wanted to check and see it. Yep.
By the way, do we do XP end of session or just post fight?
We'll do it end of session, probably.
Okay.
Okay, so Kane's just gonna do a quick walk the perimeter, make sure nothing else is coming out.
Alsana will as well. Although she'll also, if she can, she'll just kind of give a look around the nearby woods.
Alright, the nearby woods are actually pretty distant. There are several hundred feet between the edge of the forest and the edge of the woodland, at least in terms of larger trees. You
Take
can
the
actually
broom.
see, yeah, you can kind of float over and give a scout around. Go ahead and make a perception check.
Alright. Could I also ask for a nature check to see if just anything catches her eye?
Absolutely. Do perception first, just to see how much she
Kane
sees.
as well?
You
Nope.
do not have the mobility of the broomstick. You are far
Okay.
more distant.
She
You
is
can
actively
do it...
going out, but nope,
Yeah.
she got jack shit.
Yeah, if Kane wants to kind of hang out at the very edge of the village and peer across the fire trench towards the woods for anything in particular, you can do perception at disadvantage. But yeah, Alsana, you look, there are trees, big trees, there's a bunch of little scrawny sapling trees out in front, despite the villagers saying that they cut it back regularly. You see the tracks, perhaps, from the very obvious disturbed snow by the various blights, but nothing else really catches your eye.
So the nature is out the window, then I'm guessing.
Yeah, probably. At this point, you are far enough up in the air, and it's cold, chilly. Fingers are freezing to the broomstick a bit distracting. You might be able to identify a couple of the more common trees on site, but they are just that, common trees.
Yeah, well, even just any other not specifically blight related things, I guess to say.
Yeah, not really on that perception. Everything seems normal, quiet, mundane, ordinary.
Cool. She'll produce flame to warm her hands up and fly back.
Yeah. Alright.
Not much at all.
You see Philomena poke her head out one of the windows of the inn and call to one of the villagers passing by, "It's over already!"
Alsana will, like,
Oh, yeah,
float in
done.
from above. It's like, yes, there was only a number of them.
I'm sorry, miss, is that broom flying?
No, dear, I'm flying with the broom.
Well, I can't see much sense in that.
The broom doesn't fly itself unless I want it to.
Oh, so the broom is flying. It's not you doing magic to fly yourself and carrying the broom just because.
Mm,
Should,
I
should
wouldn't
really
say I'd be
clarify.
against the idea, but not in this case, no.
Hmm. Well, I'm of the opinion that brooms are for sweeping and floors and whatnot, but I suppose you do what you like. She pops her head back in the window and hear her um, calling for like the couple of the older children. Not Livia. She's probably still either asleep or if she's woken up from this after the night shift, she's probably not going to be expected to be on duty. Um, she's calling for them to start heating up some drinks for the people who were involved in the fight.
Asana's going to do a circle around of the inn up to the watchtower.
Okay.
Is there anyone currently there?
Yeah, there is currently a slightly scared looking, very, very, very alert now, like young teenage boy scanning the tree line as if his life depended on it with a little hammer held in both hands and a makeshift gong kind of by his feet.
Asana will slowly
He
float up from the
jumps.
side.
He jumps a little when he spots you. And,
Well, you
oh,
seem much more
hello.
alert.
Yeah, I'm. And you see him peel his eyes away from you to look back at the forest. Yeah. Won't happen again. Sorry.
Oh, relax, dear. I did give a quick sweep around the perimeter. Didn't see much from where I was, so... Well, if anything's coming again, you have at least a few minutes to relax, and she kind of pats him on the shoulder.
I probably shouldn't, but thanks.
Well, as long as you learned your lesson. What was, keeping you down? Stayed up too late last night?
Yeah, go ahead and do a little insight check.
Alright. 10.
Pretty much that. It's there's a little bit of the shadow under the eyes, and he looks faintly embarrassed. Probably just he was awake late.
Well, go on. What
Young
was it?
teenager.
Going out with drinks with a friend? Or was it a girl or a boy? Maybe just a good book kept you up.
I just had trouble sleeping. That's all.
Oh, if only you were convincing as you were well rested.
He kind of gives you a weird look as he tries to turn over that statement in his mind, as if trying to figure out, wait, was that an insult or?
Dear, go on, you can be honest. I'm not exactly gonna go running and tell mommy about escapades. I'm just curious.
It's why?
Well, I'd like to know what was so important that you'd well, fall asleep right here.
I had trouble sleeping.
Hmm. Was that of your own volition, though? I can have trouble sleeping too if I tape my eyes open.
He gives you another weird look. Didn't tape my eyes open. Why would you do that?
Maybe so you stay awake and alert.
I wouldn't have done that at night, though.
Uh, you're a simple one. That's good. Just, well, I'm someone who can make things happen. So if you have any, if there's anything you're trying to do that, well, clearly you felt was worth, jeopardizing your position here, then let me know and, well, maybe we can do something about it. And she kind of pats the shoulder again and walks down the stairs.
Alright, he doesn't look very convinced as you go by, but you have made your point and left your message. You head down the stairs and you go down the same stairs that Danad had come down before, and you're in pretty much the common area of the inn. And already you're seeing a few of the villagers who had taken part in the fight, walking in, chatting amongst themselves. There's kind of this very light air of victory, even if it wasn't, perhaps from your perspective, a huge or troublesome fight. It was still, these are basically commoners, and they managed to, from their perspective, hold off the biggest blight incursion they've seen with slings, and yes, some help from some people from outside town, but they feel like they did a lot. The ones that might maybe chucked a stone that shattered a blight or knocked it to the ground for good, or getting pats on the back and extra drinks called for. Most of the drinks coming out are steaming in some way, whether they are non-alcoholic like tea or coffee or even cocoa, or they might be like a mulled or heated up variety of ale or
Warm apple cider, perhaps.
Yeah, warm apple cider.
At this point, Kane may show up to the inn and kind of look around, see if there's anyone who seems a bit, even vaguely
what?
In charge.
In charge of just like the people.
Just anything. Just some kind of presence that people respect.
Okay, I would say that would be an insight roll.
Alright.
You're reading the room. Alright. Well, people obviously defer a little bit to Philomena just because she's the proprietress of this. She's the one bringing out drinks. There's a measure of respect towards her and her husband in this. They seem to regard, as a whole, Ilaris fairly well, actually. As he's, prior to the arrival of you guys, if you took note during the fight, he tended to be a bit more of a powerhouse than most of the people involved.
Yeah.
Some look askance at him a little bit, but those are few and far between. For the most part, they seem happy he's there. He's getting claps on the back too, and he's been pulled over to a table here and there to talk. Let's see. There's as the room of the inn fills up with various other villagers, those who perhaps weren't involved in the fight, those who were inside the house. You might notice that there's varying levels of deference or camaraderie between villagers. Kind of the norm for a social group. Let's see, on a 14. Yeah, there seems to be a man probably around Ilaris' age, human, who seems to get not so much the claps on the back, but a measure of respect in a more distant way. I believe that would probably be about it on that roll.
In that case, first Kane's just kind of step up to the... I've already forgotten her name, I'm sorry. The innkeep.
Okay, Philomena is the woman, and then Lindahl is the husband.
He'll go to Philomena because he met her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he'll go up to her and be like, morning. With the day to start. Just real quick, and just, if not intruding, just a quick suggestion. Maybe the young boy up there, maybe it's time to give him the day off and he pulls two in a row next time. Clearly he's not fit today.
Up on the roof. Well, someone can ask around and see if somebody can cover for him. It's not
Maybe
the
your
first
daughter. She
time.
ended up finding the blights anyways.
Actually, her daughter did not fight the blights.
Oh, sorry, finding the blights. Because
Um,
she was the one who had the Omeo, right?
no, Denard was. I think
Son.
Denard was the one. It was the son.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
sorry then.
and she goes, Denard is needed down here, I'm afraid. It's usually rotated amongst other villagers, the
Alsana,
younger ones who can't fight.
is Alsana
Alsana
in
is
earshot?
Alsana is in the room at the very least. Do perception check to see if you can hear over the buzz of conversation, unless you want to say you deliberately went up to your brother. Yeah, you hear this.
She'll kind of walk over and just, well, you know, brother, he did kind of subject himself to it, I guess to say.
And he can subject himself to whatever he wants, but if it's the safety of the villagers, we should probably get someone fit for duty today.
Do you really think another incursion's gonna happen the same day?
I think it's not worth the risk.
She kinda tilts her head. And there's other risks abound too, but I feel like tiring out another villager would be just an equal risk, no?
Listen, dears, I really have to get back to this crowd, but if
Oh,
you
no worries, no worries.
feel strongly about it, just talk to Alaris or somebody. Perhaps they can figure out something with the rotation. I'm not really in charge of that. I just supply the location. Let me know if I can get you anything else, though. And she,
Real quick,
oh,
if you,
yes.
do you have any sort of, I don't know, perhaps a metal bowl or something, any like incense dish or something like that? Just something usually heated up.
Well, we have the kettles and the pots in the kitchen.
More open, I suppose to say. Maybe a
How
pan?
open? Possibly.
I don't,
What would you be using it for?
I mean to burn some incense, personally.
Hmm. Does it matter if it's something that food is cooked in?
I suppose that'd be up to you. It would be a bit of burned stuff. I'm sure some of the cast irons might be not the best suited, but really even just a metal
Well,
plate might work.
well, if you can get it clean afterwards. Marigold. Marigold, I need, and she passes on the message to her oldest daughter, who runs into the back, and Philomena goes on to help with the drinks that have, drink orders and so on that have kind of piled up in the meantime. In a minute or so, Marigold comes back with, basically it's not actually a metal plate, but it is a simple bowl made out of fired clay.
Alright.
It's not going to withstand extreme temperatures, but it should do for burning incense or other material.
Yes. And she'll go and she'll thank her and... I'll bring
Mind
it
you,
right...
don't break it.
Oh yes, of course. If I do, I'll pay for it happily.
And Marigold nods and scurries off to continue to help.
Alsana will also turn. You know, brother, if you're so concerned, I mean...
He would have already left by now.
Alright.
He was gonna go find the one who seemed to be a bit distant.
Alright, you go over and you find as I said, a human man, looks to be perhaps around Alaris' age, touch of gray at the temples, brown hair, a slight, not quite a beard, but that very, it's in between stubble and beard. It's
That
not
kind of looked
a
like
full,
scruff.
it's a little bit scruff. It's not quite the full bush on the face. It's more closely.
Hasn't shaven in a bit, not sure if he wants to commit to the beard angle yet.
Not so much that as it's very closely trimmed. It looks more well kept than scruffy. But if I didn't want to say beard because I didn't want you to think, full bush on the face.
Yeah, okay, fair.
It's like the trim around the mouth and under the nose.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, that's probably about apt.
Alright.
He's kind of sitting off at a table on his own, more watching this minor celebration than actively taking part. He's nursing a single mug of something hot and steaming and smells slightly of apple, so probably some kind of cider.
Ken will kind of just nod to him and say, mind if I sit?
Mind if you tell me who you are?
Kane. Just a passerby around here, wondering if you knew anything about the village.
Knew anything about the village? He takes a drink out of the mug. Anybody tell you who I am?
Nah, I haven't been around long enough, sorry.
I'll ask around.
I figured coming to you was the best way to do it. I'd rather hear your thoughts of who you are than someone else's.
Ha! Alright, fine. Fair enough. And he gestures for you to go ahead and sit down. Gunter, Bolton. I don't just know the village, I own most of it.
Landowning your primary job, or you were just more of a middle manager?
Landowning is pretty much what my family is at this point. Excuse me while I try to pick music for a more lighthearted thing.
His name's spelled exactly as you'd expect.
Gunter, sort of. I did pronounce it Gunter, but Gunter. Gunter. And Bolton, Bolton.
Oh, and okay.
Yeah.
Bolton.
Yep. We own the mill, most of the plots of land and homes. Villages mostly our tenants. That's how our family business is going lately.
And I guess is this village the only one you're in charge of, or?
Yeah, pretty much all the land that we own is local. Particular reason why you want to know?
Yeah, mine are just. I saw these villagers fight, and you'll have to forgive me if it seems a bit rude. I don't seem quite too experienced other than Alaris. And seeing that he seems to be traveling right now, I'd suggest maybe see if there's any hunters around. Woodsmen might be able to help out just enough to help.
Quick insight check, please. You see a dark look cross over his face at mention of Alaris. Not overt, just enough of a sneer that is like, he's not one who thinks very highly of him.
Either way,
Traveling.
someone with... Yeah, seems like it. We're here for a while, but if I understand correctly, he won't be able to around to protect for as much as he might normally be able to.
Oh, what else can you expect?
Who knows? Regardless, for safety of the people here, I think it's best just someone who knows the way around a short bow. Just something. People then buying some guards and they can make some money here too, no?
Right, and since when are you the great expert on towns and defenses? What, you think we haven't put in requests to the crown, the cities? Walton's too small and out of the way for even a guard outpost. We've tried. So, I suggest you take your helpful advice and you take it back wherever you came from.
Oh, Mr. Bolton. Fair enough. Just,
This conversation is done.
Fair enough.
And he takes a drink from his mug and seemingly dismisses you.
Yep. He'll just nod and be like, alright. He's gonna go and find Alaris.
Okay.
Yeah, welcome to the chat, John. Alaris,
Yeah.
you were aware far more of some of the social dynamics in the town. The Boltons kind of have they are, kind of the elite of the town as far as that goes, and comparatively, yeah, in the town, they're wealthy and kind of a big deal because they own most of the town, they own the mill, etc. For a small village, they're considered movers and shakers, but they're not really big players in the outside world. And so they kind of have that superiority complex going on, and the fact that Alaris is kind of an oddball to begin with, and then quickly rose in prominence as he almost came to lead a lot of the defense against the Blights. It rubs them the wrong way a little bit. They're able to stay civil, but there are sometimes little snide remarks, and...
Do they call me knife ears? Please let them call. Please. Please.
If they do, you've never actually heard it from their lips. Ironically, however, they have a young son named Robert who likes to play with the other village children and kind of follows Gage around like a little puppy. He's like a couple years younger.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Kane will go and try and find Alaris and go, the mayor, or whatever. Quite the man.
Yeah. He is, quite the character.
Yeah, and Alaris, you
You
would
could probably
know that
tell.
there's not really an official mayorship. This town doesn't have a chosen or elected leader in that way, but in terms of, like, influence, the fact that the Boltons own so much of it does weigh their opinions a bit in terms of, like, group, town, village consensus.
Yeah, not really the mayor. He just has a lot of money to, well, comparatively for Walton, he has a lot of money to throw around.
Yeah, I kind of got that impression. Well,
So
hopefully
what
the
do you
money helps
think of
next
him?
time the Blights attack. Gotta ask, is the hunting any good around here?
Is it?
It's not since the Blight showed up. A lot
The
of
blights tend to kill a lot of the game, I guess.
Yeah, you get some game at the very edge of the forest, but nobody goes in deep, and it's typically small stuff. You might find some rabbits, squirrels, birds, something like that. Little foxes.
Yeah. Despite being near a forest, not much of a hunting town because of the blights.
I guess we better take care of that problem if we can, eh?
Yeah, it'd be nice.
I'll knowing my sister probably has some idea. Want to see if she's got an idea to help?
Yeah. So Alaris is like fully aware that the Boltons, that he just rubs the Boltons the wrong way.
Yeah, he knows that there's really no love lost for the most part, at least with the current masters of the house, Gunter and his wife Isabel. Robert's fine. But yes,
Nice kid,
you know.
probably had him over a couple times.
Yeah. In fact, he is actually right now, after the Blight attack, he was one of the children who ran out of their houses when the all clear was sounded, and he's outside with Gage at the moment, having a good chatter and playing.
Yeah. Has Alaris checked on Gage yet?
Alaris would have
On Gage
seen
Aurora?
Alaris would have seen Aurora and Gage running into their house when the attack started, and he would have seen them coming out safe after it ended. You can check in with them anytime if you'd like to specifically.
Yeah. So I basically turned to Kane's like before I do any of that, I have to check on my wife and kid.
Alright, I guess I'll go deal with Osana.
Okay, I'll meet up with you later. And Alaris goes to find Aurora.
Okay. Gage and Robert currently are kind of on the edge of the town, kind of right around here. They're poking at a pile of vine blight remains that have been kind of heaped up in the back here for probably composting eventually. And they're talking with each other. Aurora is standing a little distance away from them, keeping an eye out on them, keeping an eye out on the surroundings, but letting them have their space for play.
Yeah, I walk up to Aurora. Are you okay?
Well, we're fine. They didn't even get close. You know that.
Good.
She
Good.
leans over, wraps her arms around you.
I'm just glad you're safe, and I'm glad that I was here.
Yeah. We are too. That could have been... Well, that could have been nasty. But you were here, and those new friends of yours were here too.
Yeah.
It was a very quick dealing with that one.
Surprising.
Yeah. I didn't actually see anything. We were inside the house, but heard a little bit of it. Heard about it.
Sidebar, neither did I.
Yeah. Elaris took a couple down with his crossbow, kept people safe. Alsana burned a few from up on her broomstick. You were kind of in the center, and everybody else spread out to deal with the incursion coming from all sides. Not all sides, but in
Okay.
a wide arc. It went very quickly, it went very clean. Alsana was hit by something, Calda was hit by something, but neither one was taken down. Everybody else pretty much without injury.
Okay, good.
No lives lost.
Good. I'm just glad there were no casualties.
At least not this time. Well, one more day.
One
It's a
more
good
day.
thing. She gives you a quick kiss on the cheek. Could you watch the boys for a moment? I want to go in and get a little bit of cocoa for them. They're gonna get cold out
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
Just one moment. And she'll head back towards the inn. Gage and Robert are currently still kind of poking at the vine blights, but they're looking up towards the forest more often than not and kind of whispering to each other.
Alaris will do the dad thing where he like walks up behind them like, what you looking at there?
Let me, real quick, just out of curiosity, 20. They both jump.
Hmm.
You see, go ahead and do an insight check real quick.
Hey there, sport.
Yep.
Hey there, sport! Give me a sec, I'm loading up the characters sheet.
Alright, that's fair enough.
Okay, just got back.
Yeah. But
Insight,
yes, they,
right?
Yep, insight. They jump, they didn't actually hear you coming. Gage quickly looks around, doesn't seem to see his mom. But seems more focused on you and on Robert. Yeah, it's not terribly hard to see. They're not, they're little kids. You know, Gage 11, Robert might be a very generous 9, if maybe not quite that. And after a moment of shuffling and clearing their throats, you see Gage, not even really all that subtle, briefly elbow Robert. Tell him. Just tell him. Robert look at Gage, shake his head quickly, look back to the forest, back at Gage, back at you, briefly. Seems kind of closed off.
Do you have anything? Do you want to share anything, or?
Gage once again sighs. Yes, he does, Dad. Robert, Gage! No, seriously, you should just tell him. I don't even know if I saw it.
So
You don't
what?
see it? Nothing. Mom and Dad say I'm imagining things. Gage says, I saw it too once. Yeah, but you don't see it now. Yeah, well, I don't think you're imagining things.
What are you imagining?
I thought I saw someone out there. In the woods, right at the edge.
Like a person?
Tall, maybe? He was pale? He didn't seem to have any hair or, I guess, clothes? He's just kind of stand there and then he turned around and he moved away. And, I don't know. I saw him just a minute ago, and when I pointed him out to Gage couldn't see anything. But I thought he was right there, kind of against the trees.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't believe me.
No, there's a part of me that believes you. It's just I kind of want to see it for myself.
Yeah, well, I've tried to show other people sometimes. I've seen him before, but nobody ever seems to see him.
Okay.
Gage is like, I saw him once, but it was, it was just once, and it was kind of dark out, and it was actually like a couple years ago, and I just kind of assumed I was seeing things, It was, I was tired, and we were walking home, and, I was just making things up in my head. But now
Sometime,
Rob's seen it,
Gage, Rob,
and
Gage, Robert. I have to tell you that sometimes truth is stranger than fiction. So if you see anything, don't hesitate to tell me or Aurora or anyone. They might not believe you at first, but just me or Aurora. Rob.
will you look if we try to point at it?
Yes. I'll even bring my new friends, and hopefully we can.
Okay. Okay, if I see it again, I'll try and come find you.
Good. Good.
But yeah, it's gone anyway now. So, did you shoot a lot of blights, Mr. Thunderfist?
Yes. Yes, I guess you can say I did.
You're so cool.
Thank you.
I want to be like you when I grow up. And you see Robert kind of lift up an imaginary crossbow.
Huh.
And it makes little click-click noises.
My dad can beat up your dad.
Yeah, no shit. My dad can make better bread.
And they kind of go back to poking and pulling at the vine blight bits, stripping leaves off and scattering them about. Playing pretend fight against a blight that no longer walks. After a minute or two, Aurora comes back out of the inn carrying a couple of steaming mugs, small sized for kids, made out of wood. And the boys cheer and run towards her, and she hands them off. And don't drink too fast. You're gonna scald. Oh, yeah, that's why you have to go slow.
Fairy man.
Hey, man.
If hat.
Yeah. Okay. So taking all of that into account, now I'm gonna go find Kane and Alsana.
Yeah.
So side thing.
Kane's-
While that was going on,
Yes.
after she got the thing and realized Kane wasn't there, Alsana would have gone right back up to the watchtower.
Okay.
And just probably audible from the creaks of the stairway.
Yeah. You climb up, and this time you see the boy kind of peering around, looking to see who's coming. Sees it's you.
Hello
Turns
again.
right back around. Okay, this is only supposed to be for people who are on watch?
Good to see you on your toes. No, but how's the ventilation up here?
The what?
How does the air move up here?
I like it does anywhere. It's basically a crow's nest with a roof.
Mhm.
You've got open pillars, open air, there's a breeze.
But
It's brisk,
Alsana
it's
basically
cold.
just like, how's the weather up here for him?
More or less.
And she'll actually kind of like just like put a hand up and kind of feel it, and this'll do.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a light wind. Just enough to be brisk and chilly.
And she goes, what I mean to say is, if you were to light a fire up here, would it get too smoky?
How big a fire? This place is made of wood.
Not much at all, don't worry. and she'll take out the clay pot. And
Okay.
Devin, please do not burn down my my home
Yeah,
village.
no.
no promises. And she'll take about half of the blight pieces.
Mhm.
So she took like 2 needles, 2 twigs, and like 2 wraps of vine around it to keep them together.
Okay.
Just one of each. Put them in there, into the pouch. A bit of that in it, and
On the one hand, the twig piece goes up like in a flash. Its ashes and cinders in moments. The vine and the needle take longer. Like if you've ever thrown pine needles into a fire, it takes a while. And the vines were technically still green at the time, despite the winter.
Yep.
But you have magical fire and you're very patient, and so in the end, you do reduce them to ash. Thoroughly blackens the inside of the bowl.
and she'll just open up the pouch and pour that in.
Yep.
Yeah. Huh, there we go. Tell me, do you know much witchcraft?
You see this kid eyeing you, like, what the hell is going on? Witchcraft, isn't that like hag stuff?
And she gives this like faux offensive look. It's like, is that what you call ladies? Who raised you?
What? No, I didn't. I mean, ladies
Oh, I
don't.
never.
Ladies don't do that.
I can't believe you. And she storms off.
Oh dear.
Your parents will be hearing of this.
I imagine Kane
Oh,
walks
dear.
up right at that moment.
Uh huh.
Also,
You walk up just in time to hear your parents will be hearing about this.
I'll leave the kid alone.
oh, I'm just playing with him. Come on.
I know. That's why I'm telling you to leave him alone.
I'm
Well-
just playing around. Yeah, that's what scares me.
You're like
Oh,
a
it's not
cat
like he
playing-
doesn't deserve it.
You're like a cat playing with a grape. Just let it go. Need to talk to you anyways. Do you mind following me for a sec?
Also, a small aside. DM. Would Alsana, just while it was burning, have seen Alaris with the kids, just even a little bit?
Yeah, probably. They were kind of down a bit. You wouldn't have looked out. It would have been if you happened to look more downwards.
Oh no, yeah, she was just glancing
But
around
yes.
pretty much everywhere while it was going.
There's a possibility. Go ahead and do a perception check just to see if your eyes would have caught on them specifically.
17.
Yeah, you saw them.
And she goes, oh, what is it?
Just... I know you probably have some theory about how we can figure out this blight problem. Curious for your thoughts.
Is that right?
You're saying you don't have a theory?
I'm saying I'm surprised you want to hear it.
Gotta take care of these people. At least if we have the time to. Plus, it might get us further where we need to go.
My goodness, you've become more and less of a pushover all these years. And she kind of continues down the stairs. Where are the others?
I think Calda's just talking to the innkeeper for a bit, or helping her out, not sure. I think,
Well, at least give me the one who lives here.
he's out with his kids. Don't scar them too bad.
Oh, no, it's fine. They, didn't jeopardize the whole town, so I'll be kinder with them.
Alright. Well, I want to hear your thoughts anyway, so I'm gonna keep with you.
Is that right?
Unless you have a complaint.
I have plenty. And she'll
In that
hop on the
case-
broom and go out the door.
You
just
actually
follow her.
want, Elaris and Alsana go ahead and do a dexterity save.
Alright.
Funk.
2.
Let's see, Elaris. Elaris, you see, just as you open the door to the inn, you see Alsana coming out with the broom and you dodge out of the way. Alsana, unfortunately, you try to swerve at the same instant and you don't hit Elaris, but you do smack right into the door frame.
Oh,
Tumble
that
on
was
the
the
broom.
bad shoulder. Okay.
You okay?
Just wonderful. And she kind of like pulls herself up and dusts herself off.
This is why you don't fly indoors. Or into doors, for that matter.
Is this what you do now? Is this revenge for the years of childhood, where I had to
Oh,
tell
sorry.
you to do everything properly?
Sorry, you're not used to sniping coming back to you, or?
No, it's just you don't do it interestingly. I run into a door. Oh, well, Sunday, you better not run into doors.
Well, it makes you feel better. You ran into the door pretty interestingly.
No, it was straightforward, like your sense of humor. Alaris, might I ask?
Kane,
Yeah.
if this
Yep.
was a world with little video cameras, this would be a moment where it would be like, oh, I wish I'd gotten that on camera. This would have
Yep.
been on YouTube in 2 seconds flat. But it is not. So.
Good McFur grapevine.
She turns to Alaris like, so you have information on the area, yes?
Yeah.
All right, and you've been
And,
dealing with the blights for a while, yes?
Yes.
Has you seen anything else other than blights in the area?
I personally haven't, but apparently my son and his best friend have seen something in the woods. And I described the thing.
Oh, really? Oh, I hope you
Yeah.
won't mind if I go interrogate your son. That came out wrong, at least for you. You see, I really have to say that, oh, sorry, there we go. I really have to say that, well, that's piqued my interest. Would Alsana know, even in just like vague fairy tale, the idea of young kids seeing things that the adults don't?
Hmm. Oh gosh, what kind of check would that be?
History, Arcana.
Feel like it might be.
Was it a religion, maybe?
Oh god. I don't know that it's close enough to religion. Might be able to get away with religion or history if you take into like.
All the same
mythology
modifier,
perhaps.
baby.
Yeah, if it's all the same modifier, just roll something.
Arcana, history, religion.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of them. Oh god. Alsana? You know
Yes?
something very specific.
Oh, do I?
Yes, you do. You know very specifically of this creature that's said to, kind of come from, like, this, and it's kind of relevant to your interests. It's linked in some ways to the Shadowfell, to the idea of a lost soul that, that in its wanderings becomes not even soul, but almost a person that becomes intangible, invisible.
And it has big claws, doesn't it?
It takes the form, when it can be seen, of this long-limbed, pale, clothless hairless humanoid, and it's got this peculiar kind of invisibility.
Where it can only be seen by kids under a certain age.
Yes.
Oh no.
And also if by the light of like a candle made from an unidentified corpse.
Yes.
If you want to go with that.
Tallow candle. Yes.
You are aware of skulks.
Ah, it was exactly what I thought, and she got it right away. And she'll just,
no.
oh.
Wait, what?
This like huge grin goes across her face, like, oh my goodness, I know exactly what it is.
Alaris,
What?
for once, don't be
What is
alarmed.
it?
This might be something useful.
It's a nice little thing. Lost Soul. Are you familiar with the Shadowfell?
That's a fucking loaded question.
How familiar is Alaris with the Shadowfell?
Do a religion check.
Do you mind if Kane does as well?
Yeah, go ahead. It's an open question. Go ahead.
Yeah, a religion check.
Religion check. Alright.
Wow.
Natural.
Oh god, Alaris, your
0.
DC was gonna be low, but even that is too low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
simply got a 0.
You've got a vision.
I think
in your
being a
mind.
hexblade would know.
Yeah, that's why the DC was gonna be low, but you rolled that. I'm sorry.
Does Alsana know
Yikes.
the line
was gonna
between
be-
hexblades and...
But yeah, this this village, your education was not very deep and heavy into planner stuff. She says Shadowfell, and you think, like a really shadowy place. Um, that's about it. Kane, you don't really have that much more, but you do have an inkling that is some kind of plane of existence, and it's got something to do with death or ghosts or undead or something. Bad things, mostly, is the common understanding of it. And that's what you
Yeah,
guys have.
Alright, so I can see by the expression on your face that you've not the slightest what I'm talking about.
may have read a couple books on it a couple years ago, but
Oh, please tell me, what do you know then?
I couldn't tell you if I tried.
Yes. Long story short, it's not a nice place to be. Think of it as a more... let's see, if Kane were the Hells, I would be the Shadowfell. It's a horrible place for your soul to end up, eternal suffering, stuff like that, but it's more willowing, death and decay and things like that, and skies black and, less heat. But if such a soul is lost in there and finds its way back here, which gives me other ideas, especially with you having a nice little bit of interaction with a being that seemingly opposes concepts from the Shadowfell, undead and the like. That, well, whatever got you your nice little weapon also brought whatever your young kid is seeing, and assuming it's, let's say, a portal of some sort, might be affecting the local area and bringing about the blight from the horrible necrotic energy corrupting the plants. For the record, as well, the thing your son can see, or you said your son's friend.
My son said he saw it a couple of years ago. But...
Yes, that would be it. It's a certain age bracket that is able to view them, so if your son's gotten older over the years, then it may have been past his time to do so. How long ago was it? How many years? Did your son see it?
Did Gage give me a specific year, or...?
He just said a couple years, maybe.
Yeah, Gage just said a couple of years, maybe.
A couple of years,
He's
maybe.
11.
If you had to ask him, in those same words, how long has the blight been going on for?
John, if you've forgotten, much longer than that.
Like 5 years, was it?
Like the first blight were spotted a little bit less than 10 years ago.
10 years
It might have been
ago,
like 8. The first
yeah,
ones
might
were
have been
spotted about
maybe
then.
like 8 years, yeah.
Attacks started like 3 or so years after that. It's been a slow snowballing thing.
Well, if that's the case, then either they're two things that are horribly coincidental, or whatever's causing it started up the blight first, and then this fun little being kind of wanders its way into our world. So if we're dealing with it, we have, from what I see, 2 options to be able to have it be what I see. We can either bring the young boy along with us to point it out, and probably scream and yell quite uselessly. As he sees the horrifying visage of the pale, bony, naked figure with claws to rip things limb from limb. Or...
His father hates me as it is. I don't think...
well, then there's nothing to lose. I'm kidding. But the alternate would be we'd have to go find an unidentified corpse.
Actually, there is another alternate since you rolled a 26 with a nat 20 on that history check.
Oh, okay.
There is one more way. You can see it if its reflection can be seen in a mirror or on another surface. If you have something reflective, you can look at the reflection and find it that way.
Oh, yes. Alright. Sorry, 3 ways. Just thought of a small bit in an appendix. Well, we can either go find an unidentified body and use some of the fat on it to make a candle. I'm sure the alchemist could help us with that. Although we might also, have questions asked about it.
Yeah.
Or we could bring with us a large number of mirrors and reflective surfaces and only be able to see it through that. Like a Medusa, like that, but only instead of you should look through it, you have to, otherwise you just don't see it.
Kane's trying to pull out a mirror.
Okay.
Alright, roll your d20. Yeah, okay, you get a basic hand mirror.
And just looks and says, so
Wooden
simple
back.
as this work?
Yeah, wooden back, wooden handle, wooden frame.
Simple is exaggerative. Do you think you could fight something purely looking through that?
No, but I imagine we have certain magics available to us to make it easier.
She kind of raised an
And-
eyebrow. And what magics per se do you have in mind?
Don't know, it's your specialty. Quick question.
You hear Calda nearby clear her throat and heft her lantern up on the table.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
As characters, you didn't know about this, but Calda might mention that she's got a lantern that, when lit, can reveal invisible things.
Asana's head slowly turns.
Interesting.
Oh. Damn it, fine.
You
I
wanted
wanted
find
to-
the body, didn't you?
I want to do something fun, brother. They're not
Calda-
using it.
Not to hijack Ty's character, but Calda might maybe mention that, well, if you'd rather use a mirror.
So our options are
I think we
A,
found our option.
traumatize. Yeah, so it's like, okay, so you're telling me the four options that we have
Mhm.
are: one, traumatize the child of a person who already vehemently hates me;
Yes.
two, make a candle out of an unidentified body, no doubt.
The fat of an identified body,
Really?
you can't really use the bones. Well, if you
Really?
ground them into a fine enough dust, but then it just kind of doesn't smell great.
Nevertheless, has more questionable connotations with the locals.
Look, we go for a walk out in the forest, we find some apparent lichen, and hope for the best.
How often do you find bodies in forests, Osana?
She
I don't want to know the answer to that question.
she turns around and
I-
is like, do you want to know the answer to that question?
I do not.
If you're willing to offer it, sure. You seem quite certain to be able to find them quickly.
No, but it's worth a go around.
Well, I think for now we should stick to the...
Okay, but how far does that light go there, Calda?
She'll
Further
tell
than a
you
candle.
that. Yeah, she'll tell you that it's about 30 feet. Yep, bright light for 30-foot radius, dim for another 30 feet, but the invisibility is only for the bright radius.
So
and that's
we
if the hood is up.
so we have a 30-foot area around us.
Plus we should probably grab some mirrors on top of that. No reason just to do one.
Well, if we can lure it into an area that's perhaps frozen over, or some sort of small pond or something, I can burn away the ice. And I mean also, would Alsana know if just throwing flour or something on it would work?
I was gonna say something like that.
Or is it more ethereal?
It's iffy. It's permanently invisible.
But is it corporeal?
It's technically it is not incorporeal. However, you would know, Alsana, that through some strange magic, it leaves no tracks behind.
Okay.
So that incorporealness, corporealness, somehow breaks some of the rules. You're not quite sure if throwing flour on it would actually do the trick, or if
Magic
this-
works to make sure it's not there unless these caveats are met.
more or less.
Okay.
You might assume so, yeah.
Alright, well, look, if we can always ask around if there's an unidentified corpse in the town.
You can do that.
Fine.
And also, it's probably been identified if it's from this town.
Yes, but
Might have better luck near the river, though.
anyways, I don't need you to tell me how to find a corpse. But, there's also I understand your concern about, someone you don't like and dragging their young child out into a dangerous environment. But could you give the lad a telescope or something? Maybe put them up on the top of the tower just to keep an eye out? If the thing's crawling through the middle of town and slashing things up invisibly, that can be an issue.
Why don't they just, if we are gonna bring him with them, stick him on top of your broom?
Because, brother, I'm not actually considering bringing the child into a hazardous environment.
Really?
You see, this is why I'm not worried about you. Regardless, those are our options as they stand. More importantly, we're dealing with a symptom. We're learning how to weather a symptom, but we need to get to the cause, because I get the feeling the cause and our shrine might be at least somewhat aligned. Especially if what I think is true, and whoever's going around and collecting them is making it harder for anyone else to get to them. I'm sure dropping a nice little lost soul from the Shadowfell if they had the means to, or a portal, or something, I don't know, and I don't know what they are, and the Threshold certainly didn't give us any specifics. But I'm going to assume the worst of whatever we're going against. Especially if, well, you saw what we got from one. If they've been doing it for hundreds of years, there's cause for worry. And I don't know about you lot, but I prefer my head on my shoulders.
I'm pretty neutral on your head and your shoulders. That being said, I think we should, stick to one problem at a time for now, no?
I don't think so, because if we're... What are we going to do? Simply venture out and slay the invisible creature that no one knows about to come home and collect no reward?
We stick to closing whatever is the cause of this, not the symptom. As
yes,
for the
but
long
we're
term,
still going to have to deal with it. Walking into that forest is dangerous one way or the other. And if it's as close as the young kid says it is, we might have to be dealing with it rather soon.
Let's get on it then.
Alright, I'll go body searching and I'll stop by the apothecary. Maybe one and the same. If anyone wants to come with me, convince me.
Polaris, do you want to make sure she doesn't get kicked out of town?
I suppose so.
Are you sure? Won't your wife be worried?
I've been with Aurora for over 10 years. She has nothing to worry about, and neither do you.
You sure? 10 years, long time.
Very much so.
You've had no other considerations? No man's 100% faithful, is he?
Alaris gives a small chuckle. You'd be surprised.
Right, I forgot you're the one who gives thanks to the crossbow. Speaking of which, I haven't heard from your god yet.
Oh, I haven't had much time to talk to him lately.
Well, I would think the intent would get across.
I suppose so.
She'll like go and like... Does he have the crossbow on his back right now?
No, it's shunted into the... whatever.
The little in-between plane where it goes.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Well, you can just look up if... Xanthus, is it? If you're listening, yeah, give me a... Write me a letter, will you?
Or send a squirrel.
No, that's what we do.
Gods could probably do it too.
Yes, and I'm sure they can do many other things.
Like ignore you if they want.
Hmm. Well, then I guess that makes you a deity.
If only.
Okay. Well, I'm off to the apothecary. Feel free to follow me if you'd like. And she gives like a hand wave to Alaris.
Watch the door on the
Yeah.
way out.
Alright. You head out the door? Tell me,
Yep.
how do you plan on finding the apothecary, Alsana?
Is the town map the whole town?
It is the whole town.
She is going to just hop on the broom and do a circle of the main roads until she sees a sign with a bottle on it.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check.
Wait, weren't we told? Weren't we given directions
is
by?
already walking to
uh,
We
the
were given
apothecary.
directions, I was gonna say.
Yeah, no, we were given
Okay,
directions
fine.
by
Okay.
Philomena.
I think she said it was. Did she say it was kind of across the way from the inn and it
Yes.
was closest to
Yeah.
the forest? All right. Where would you guess in that case?
The house with the blue thing on
Would
top.
Alaris know where the apothecary is?
Do a little point or a ping or something because
She'll go for. Sorry, what was the exact wording on the across the way?
kind of not far from the spiral horn and closest to the forest. And you know that the forest is where the blights came from. It's where the trench is, so it's kind of this side of the map.
All right. She'll give a look just over these two houses.
Yeah. This one is just a family home. This one, you almost passed it over, but then you see this whole area is basically underneath the snow, set up like it's supposed to be some kind of garden. And you swoop back and you
Ooh.
look at the door, and there is kind of painted on the door frame, just visible under the frost. Yes, the sign of a bottle and a sprig of leaves.
She'll just do like a kind of a druid craft just to off the snow.
Yep, the sign is there.
All right.
It's pure pictograph, but it gets the meaning across.
She'll turn to Alaris, assumedly following behind. Is it polite to knock in this area, or do you just simply walk in?
I tend to knock.
And she just does a few raps on the door.
Come in!
And she'll go and press the door open.
Okay, you go inside. It's basically a one-room hut, but there's a curtain stretched across one end, and you can guess that that might be more private areas. The bulk of the room, however, there is a fireplace and a chimney in the back. There's a couple of windows, a door. But other than that, it is a basic floor, kind of covered in the straw covering, not wood planks or anything. Thatched roof overhead. The rafters inside, however, are just hung with bundles of drying herbs, and just in almost streamers and clumps all throughout
I
this
knew
room.
I'd like it here.
There's there's what looks like a basic workbench with various tools of the trade, things that you would recognize, glass jars, beakers, vials, mortars, pestles, just in various states of either in use or pushed off to the side. There are collections of various kinds of mushrooms, other plant material, bark, shredded, ground, put in jars, labeled by some system or other. I believe that Halfling language does use common script, however, you are not recognizing the words.
She's reading French.
Yep, basically. You see, aside from like the dry goods, you see bottles of liquids, tins that probably contain or could contain various pastes or ointments, various tinctures. There's like 3 different kettles lined up in front of the fireplace, and one that's actually on the low burning fire right now with steam rising out of it. There's like a cauldron or 2 of various sizes stacked right next to it. a rain barrel full of water with a dipper ladle in one corner of the room. And kind of in the middle of all this, sitting at the table with a little mug of tea in front of her, is an absolutely ancient-looking, little old halfling woman.
More
Her
wrinkles
face
than
is
skin.
Exactly. Her face is almost nothing but wrinkle in this round, almost apple shape, with little eyes that peer at you from behind a pair of tiny spectacles.
My goodness, a talking raisin. She doesn't actually say that.
Yep. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I don't recognize you. You're a new one. Traveler?
Yes. Brought in by this one right here.
Ah, Alaris. How is your
What?
brother getting on these days?
Cameron?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while. I've been, sort of preoccupied, and he just does like a general wave towards the air.
Ah, yes, the whole nasty problem in the woods. Now come in, close the door, you're letting in the draft. Would you like a
No
cup of
problem.
tea, loves?
Yes, sure.
I'd have to ask first what kind.
Oh, my own blend. A little bit of mint in there, I think you'll like.
Has Alaris had this tea before? He's probably had to come to the apothecary for like health potions.
She's not so much like the magical health potion sort. Hers is a local craft and trade, but yes, you have had a great many teas from her. Some are for taste, which is the one she's offering you. Others are purely for health reasons, and those tend to be a little bit more on the bitter and, medicine side of flavors. But this one she's offering is actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah, no. This is
It's
pretty good.
pleasant.
A herbal blend of tea by an apothecary. I am honored.
Well, you're very welcome. You're so polite. So, what brings you here? What troubles you? Everything all right with Aurora and Gage?
Yes, yeah, of course. They're doing well.
Well, that's good, but in that case, what about yourself, young man? She gives you a look over the spectacles.
Oh, did you tell her about that rash?
Oh dear, what kind of ration
No,
wear is
not
it?
a- no,
Have you been
no,
handling any
no.
strange plants? She's
Well-
already heading towards the ointment.
And there's like obvious grin on her face, but it's just like, well, you see, he's rather shy about it given the location.
Oh, one of
I
those. I
can't
see.
believe
I'll
you
get
can-
the special ointment. And she
Can't
reaches
believe
towards
that.
the
No,
bookshelf.
no, that's not necessary.
I'm
Because it
sorry,
doesn't
ma'am.
exist.
I am simply having fun at his expense.
Good mother, I
Oh,
am fucking with you.
see.
Bit of a
You're
gap.
very naughty.
there.
Have half a mind not to give you that tea now, but she's still already filling up a mug and pushing it over to you.
I appreciate it in despite of it.
Well, if not for any kind of sniffles, cold, sicknesses, or rash. Oh, you say that Aurora's well. How very well?
Yeah.
Well enough that maybe in a few months you might be needing my services again? And she winks.
Oh.
Tongue rolls over the teeth and looks over.
Wow,
Oh,
this
are
is
you planning
very-
for
this is
another
some
one?
Very good tea. Yeah. Can I?
Is she that good?
Well, I can come by for an examination if you need me
I
to.
simply must know now. Are you aiming for it? Well,
I'm kind of busy been kind of busy with the blight problem.
well, it doesn't take that much time to get the whole ball rolling, does it?
I haven't asked Gage if he wants a brother or sister yet.
Well, brothers and sisters tend to come whether they're older siblings say yay or nay. I remember that with Kenren when you were born. He was rather put out for a while, but he warmed up to you.
Oh, you knew his parents as well.
Oh, I know everybody. I was there for most everybody's birth, in fact.
Ah, yes, I
Quite a
believe that
few
was
deaths.
I'm
mentioned.
pretty sure she knows my grandparents.
Well,
She's
not that,
been around
not
a long
that
time.
old. And she swats your hand. Not that long.
I jest.
I might have been just a little girl at that time. It hardly counts.
Balsana kind of looks around, just like, a herbalist woman entwined
Oh,
with life
sorry.
and death.
Seraphina Greenbottle, I'm sorry, I didn't introduce myself. What is your name, dear?
Oh, Asana Abelitos. It's wonderful to meet you. And, feel nothing about it. I've already heard your name. We were recommended here.
Alright, now I really must know why you would be recommended here. Do you have a similar problem? Is there something that you'd like another checkup for, or...
Where's your rash?
You're not here, brother.
That wasn't brother, that was me.
That's what I said.
Yeah, Alsana, do
Alright.
you happen to have a rash of some description?
Yes, would
Well,
you like
won't
to see
take
it?
you long here. And she'll,
I don't think that's my jurisdiction.
despite the daylight coming in, she lights the little candle, brings it over. Just to open your eyes up wide, dear. This won't take a moment, and it starts shining light in your eyes.
Well, I do appreciate it, given some of the substances I've come in contact of recent. Ouch.
Vision seems normal.
She has like
Hold still a
the
moment. Tell me if any of
top.
this pinches, and she starts poking at the skin on your hand. You feel all this, right?
Yes, of
Alright.
course. Of note, she probably noticed the kind of like stab wound on her shoulder currently.
Oh, that looks nasty. Oh,
Yes,
dear. One moment, I'll
my
get
first-
some bandages
yes,
and a
my
little potion. Have some honey.
My first order of business was something to clean that out.
Well, why didn't you take care of it already? That's already all dried and caked. And she's taking a little pan of water over to the stove from the rain barrel, warming it up, dipping a cloth in. She's grabbing some bandages rolled up from the shelf. And she's just generally bustling around with a few little ointments and so on and so forth until she's able to get it back. Alright, to just push the robe over to the side a bit so I can get to it.
Yes. But while you work, we did have some other, questions as well.
Alright, you keep dancing around this. If not any of the things I've asked about, what is it?
Well, to start,
Hold
the
still,
reason-
this might sting a bit.
yes, to start, I did, wait, no, she's got +2 to Constitution. She's fine.
Okay.
Yep. Just, just a little like twinge on one of the tendons on the neck.
Just
like,
yes.
We came back at least recently from Threshold.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, it's the island kind of in the middle of the lake.
Oh, I see. I've never gone further than Utar, and that was a very long time ago. Mostly I've just been here. But you say you've come a long way.
Yes, and we're set to go a bit more. We found ourselves kind of on the hunt for a few locations, mainly for documentation purposes. Although some of the places are set to be dangerous, considering one would be in this forest currently inhabited by the Blight. Now, from our understanding of, or at least mine from what I've heard, you're a woman who frequents the forest often?
Well, I used to. Before it became, like this. It wasn't always, you know. Some of the younger ones don't believe me. Don't trust my memory, but it was a beautiful place when I was a girl.
Oh, I'm sure it was. What time around did it start to, shift to what it is today?
I couldn't say. It's been, many years now. Over a decade. A little more. It was a slow crawl. Slowly, things became less safe. When I was a child, I could go out with my mother and my grandmother as they searched for herbs and showed me the ways of the woods, and I could go out and play by myself, and not a thing would harm me, and no matter how long or far or thoughtlessly I wandered, the path would always lead me straight back home again. But then the path stopped doing that. And then the light dimmed. The the herbs were less lush, less fruitful and good. And then, well, shadows grew and spread, and less of the forest was safe until only the verges, and now not even that. I grow my own herbs now. I miss some of the ones I could get out in the woods. They were so good, so much better than what I can cultivate in my own little plot of land.
Well, if all goes well, we do stand to find the cause of its degradation. If, wait, from what you say, it seems like there was a bit of a protective spirit of the forest that's seemed to have fallen ill or something.
Well, there was a spirit, at least according to all the stories. I never saw him myself, but I've
Oh,
heard.
really? Do tell.
If he's dead or gone, then it might explain it.
Did he have a
But
name?
not a name. Unless it was just a title, the Master of the Forest. But he, like the wood, was said to be beautiful. Pure pale white coat, a shining horn. The spiral horn is named for the story, you know, though not everybody remembers or cares for it now.
White coat, spiral horn. A deer? Do you mean? Or an
Oh
elk?
no, no. And she gestures towards. There's this very small, woven and hand-stitched looking tapestry of sorts, hardly more than a banner hanging above her workstation. Just pure green material. There's a little bit of this red thread picking out flowers and along the border, and yellow. Red and yellow thread picking up flowers around the border, and in the center there is a depiction of a rearing horse in white with a horn shape from the top of its forehead.
Alright, Elsa knows a unicorn when she sees one.
Yeah.
Oh. I understand now. Huh.
Tales have been told of lucky few who perhaps got too lost despite the paths, or wandered in far enough, or just happened to be in the right place at the right time, seeing a flash of him through the trees.
I can only hope to be so lucky.
Yes, exactly. Never in all my years have I seen one. But, well, I suppose it's probably too late now. He'd never let the forest be like this.
Well, I do intend to do something about it, as much as I can.
I hope there's something to be done. But you make sure first you give this, and she pats the bandages just as she ties them off, a good rest. I've put a salve on it. It should help with the healing. Make sure you take these bandages with you, change them once before bed, and then once again in the morning.
Yes, I'm very appreciative.
Give it a good wash each time.
How much for your service then?
People tend to give me what they're able. A little bit of food, or a little bit of drink, or
Yes.
clothing.
Sorry, I'm not as used to this area with their bit more openness to trade.
Well, I do have rent due in a few days, and the Boltons prefer coins, so if you have some to spare, I will not say no.
In that case. Oh, sorry, did we address last time starting gold stuff? I remember I asked about that and I wasn't sure.
Oh. I think it was basically whatever your background provided.
Okay. Let me see then. Oops. Alright. Sorry, I'm gonna look that up real quick.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Yeah, I assume it's probably like 5 or 10 gold or something, but
What's your background?
hermit.
It's 5.
5? Alright. Yep, and she'll take out and go, what would be the, I guess, standard fare for something like this?
Well, most people just spare a few coppers, maybe a silver if they felt very in need of it.
Well then, I guess for the tea, for the healing, and for the story, and she'll hand 3 silver.
It was very generous. Are you sure, dear?
Oh, I'm absolutely certain. I have a deep appreciation for your craft. I'm a bit of an amateur myself, so
Oh, really? Well, I wouldn't mind sharing a few notes. I've got my own apprentice, but it's good to get minds together sometimes.
yes. And you say the growing and the such has been difficult over the time, at least for things you can't quite get usually.
In the forest, yes. And my own plot is limited. And certain plants just grow better in the shade or beneath certain trees.
Might I ask, do you plant in your little plot regularly, or do they certainly simply come up during the spring?
Well, I've established enough that they tend to just come back year after year, but I keep a few seeds spare.
All right. Well, I will keep that in mind. Uh, you see, it's herbalist is one way of my craft, and the other, and she'll just kind of like do it, just a bit of the druid craft in the hand. Maybe
Right.
um maybe the weather check.
You do the weather check, and for the next 24 hours, you see some clouds and so on.
Well,
Oh, that's very pretty.
yes, and if you'd be wondering, it seems clouds are in within the next day or so.
That's very useful.
I can do a bit more though, just not as often today. But one thing I might be able to do for you is make sure your harvest is a bit better the coming year.
Oh, you've already done so much just with these, and she holds up the coins.
Yes, but like I said, I have a vast appreciation for your craft and just you as a person, really. You're the kind of grandmother I
Thank
wish
you.
I would have had.
Oh, that is simultaneously very sweet and a little sad for its implications. She reaches over and very wrinkled, tiny hand pats the top of yours.
Oh, don't worry about it. Long
I'm
may
sure, I'm sure you're a very sweet granddaughter.
and have long made peace with the family situation for the most part. Um, but yes, might I also ask, have you seen anything in the forest other than blight?
Oh, I've not gone into the forest since the blight really became a problem, so no, I haven't.
Even when it was kind of in its infancy of being an issue?
Mm, the usual birds and beasts. That was all, though.
Hmm. And of your younger days, you said you'd go rather far into the forest, always finding your way back. Did you ever
Yes.
find any sort of, let's say, structure? Something that's not the town?
Structure.
Perhaps a
No.
kind of built area, old stonework, an abandoned place?
No. I've never seen any sort of civilized anything inside there, if that's what you mean.
Hmm.
No ruins or anything of the sort.
Alright.
There were occasionally paths that were probably used by various hunters for their villages. If that's something that might count as humanoid made. Uh, but no, other than that, nothing.
Hmm.
Is there a reason, dear?
Well, obviously something is causing the decline of the area. I aim to find it out, and I have reason to believe there's... It may not be connected, but I know there might be a... called a shrine, vaguely, in the area.
Shrine. Well, there's not really anything as far as a god goes. But there's rumors that the Master of the Forest had some home in there, of some kind.
Is that right?
It probably wouldn't have been a building. But if anything's worthy of being a shrine, I'm sure it would be that. Perhaps?
You're... Thank you. That might help more than you know.
Well, you're most welcome. Is there anything else?
I suppose while I'm here, have you any, interesting herbs or something of the sort?
Well, I don't know about interesting, but I can show you some of my blends. And she'll get up and kind of talk you through these various concoctions she makes, blends of this and that to help with these various things. You learn about a lot about treating things like basic stomach aches and colds and easing pain, teas for
Really? Moonberries
supporting
in
the
the
study of
nose? I would have never thought of that.
well, not many do. But it clears them right up. Something to do with the drying effect.
Is there anything
There's one very pointed moment where she talks about a particular blend of herbs that is commonly rurally believed to help with childbirth.
Ah, yes.
Yep.
Maybe just during that she'll also ask him, you'll excuse it if it's a bit of a morbid question, but you mentioned you've seen quite a bit of death as well as life in this place, right?
Well, yes. That's how things go. People pass on, and, well, someone has to see to certain matters.
Oh, and I suppose you're a title of mortician as well, then.
Not in so many words, but someone has to do for those who cannot or are too distraught.
Does this town have a graveyard?
Oh, there's a little plot out that way, and she gestures vaguely across the room in the direction that you know would be outside of town, more towards the river than the forest.
North, south, east, west?
Kind of more, if that way's south, then probably a little bit more north and west.
Okay. So a bit more in the, kind of, open spot.
Yeah, kind of somewhere out there.
Alright.
It's not really, she might explain, it's not really a fancy, fenced-in, walled graveyard. More just stones in the ground, a tree over top.
Has there been many fallen to the, light incursions?
A few. Mostly in the first attack, it was the worst one.
Unexpected.
Yes.
Anyone gone missing? Expected, but not recovered?
Well, not that I recall. I mean, I believe that a few years back somebody fell into the river, but, no, not overall.
Fall into the river.
Well, if you go out that way, then certain times of year are more dangerous than others, and unfortunately, he couldn't swim. And it was a bit swollen with the spring floods.
Was he brought back, or
Uh, I think eventually, but it was a quick burial. It was not fit for a wake or viewing.
Mhm. Yes, I'm just you're aware of the idea of undead, yes?
Oh yes, but we've no problem with that.
Yes.
We keep Lamphine on the tree.
Mhm. Is that a specific thing she would know about?
Probably go ahead and do a nature check.
All right.
It's not going to be a high DC.
9.
Yeah, it wasn't a high DC, so, close enough. You've heard of Lamphine, you know that it's...
I was gonna say, she of
Yeah.
all people, undead
Yeah.
measure plants.
Yeah, it's, basically, it's a plant that's said to have some repelling qualities against at least minor undead. It is actually bioluminescent, and, it's also rumored that the light in the bulbous flowers dims when undead are nearby. Or at least when evil are nearby. The stories kind of conflict there a little bit.
Have you any seeds of Lamphine? I know you said you've kept some seeds on hand for the spring.
Let me take a look. You see her rummage through some of, not quite a shelf, more like a small, woven basket set in a shelf. And she seems to have these little folded packets.
Little papers.
that rustle. Oh god, she's got Lamphine.
Ha!
I was rolling for luck. She has Lamphine.
Can I get anything else out of this 20?
You could probably get a few things if you're interested in some seeds.
Where's the line end? Because I know she don't have dusk bells.
Yeah, she does not have those.
She have Dittany.
She would have some Dittany.
Really? Okay.
She'd have some Dittany seeds. It can be used for other things, so yeah, she might have.
All right. Would you be interested in selling?
Tell you what, dear, we'll call this a trade in part for the promised help with the garden.
That sounds like a quite fair trade.
Okay, let's see.
D4, D2.
Yeah, I'm just deciding what's reasonable. I'm thinking 2D something so that you don't. Maybe 3D4.
1D3.
Or
1d3 times 4.
Yeah. Sure. 1d3 times 4. Okay, you get about 8. There are like little they're small, they're not bulbs, but they're not tiny seeds either. They're fairly good sized seeds for Lamphine.
Not quite a plum, not quite an apple.
Yeah. Well, a little bit bigger than an apple. Think maybe along the lines of like an almond, perhaps?
All right.
They're pretty good sized. You know, they can rattle around in one of your pouches. You're not going to lose them. As for the Dittany, she'll probably have a little bit more of that. Let's say 1d4 times... Let's say 1d4 times 3? No, that'd still be less. That was 1d3 times 4. Let's do 1d3 times 5. Yeah, okay. You end up with 10 seeds for the Dittany that you could use as starter plants or druidcraft or whatever.
All right. All right. I like it.
Okay.
And she'll like thank her again profusely.
Yeah. She might offer you a few like general herb garden seeds as well, and just fill a small packet with a kind of an assorted mix, as if you were doing herbal wildflower mix.
All right.
So it's it's just a little packet of seeds mixed
Herbal,
from an apothecary's
Wow.
garden.
herbal wild mix packet.
Yep. I'm not going to roll for number because it's
Yep.
a blend of
It's whatever.
tiny seeds. Yeah,
All right.
it's whatever.
She might ask
Mint.
just for like a quick write down of the possibilities.
General stuff: mint, lavender.
Yeah,
some...
not so much for me,
Yeah.
but just so much for when she grows it, she can be able to identify the plants.
Yeah, she can have that. It's nothing exotic, but
Yep.
you have your list.
All right. Okay.
Okay then.
Yep, and she'll thank her again, and she'll also mention, something I've came across and have a suspicion about. If you ever hear any of the younger children talking about a ghostly figure, take more credence to their words than you might think.
Believe them.
Well, if you say so.
We have the feeling there might be something, other than the blight.
Well, if it sets your mind at ease, I suppose I could try to keep in mind what it feels like not to be believed.
Just a small thing, but I imagine any of the precautions you've taken with, the blight will be the same. Would Alsana know if the, sorry, what was the name of the monster again?
The skulk.
Skulk. Would she know if it's technically undead?
That was a very, very good nature roll.
And she is who she is.
And she is who she is. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and allow.
I'll roll
that
another
much.
one if you want.
No, I'll just go ahead and go with it. I'm not going to give you anything, more detailed. It is technically not undead.
Okay.
It's the soulless husk of a traveler lost in the Shadowfell for too long.
Okay.
It never actually died.
Okay. And is it technically soulless then?
Kind of.
Okay.
It's faded.
Because it said before the soul of a traveler, and now it's the.
Yeah, that was me mixing things up and messing up, misspeaking.
Yep, sure.
That was my bad. It's more the body of a traveler.
So it's a physical body?
It is physical. It is not ethereal, but it also leaves no tracks, and so there's this weird nimbus of physicality. It's lost all sense of self. All appearance has faded from it. That's the source of its invisibility and
But it's still the fact that a physical body was put in the Shadowfell, turned into that, and came back.
Yes.
Okay. Yep, that's good to know. I was thinking potential spirit that has form, but okay. If that's
I messed up.
If that's the case, that's probably more likely a portal. Good to know. Or simply summoned, which might be just as bad. Maybe there's a hag. All right. Yep. Alsana will thank her. Ask Alaris if he has anything he needs.
No.
Are you sure? You also mentioned that I'll spare you just for now.
Oh yes, I know that you're a troublesome one now. But very seriously, Alaris, if anything does come up, you know to come to me.
I know. You've told this to me many times.
Oh, good.
Oh, sorry. One last. You mentioned before your apprentice. Who might that be?
Oh, Shayna.
Shayna.
Shayna Sunmeadow. She
nice
has
name.
the day off. She's helping at home, but she lives just down the way.
Nice.
She's only new to it though, and she's learning. She picks up quickly, but she's very young still.
All right. How young?
Oh, I think she might just be 15.
Oh, all right.
So very young.
Yes. When did you start learning? I know it was more of a family ordeal for you.
Oh, quite literally on my mother's knee. I can't remember a time that I wasn't peering into bowls as She and my grandmother worked, or stirring pots for them sometimes, or very carefully scooping measures.
So you've
She's
lived
been
it.
around a long time.
Yes, you've lived it for much longer than she has at her age.
Well, a very, very long time, yes.
I mean, if you were young and 15 again.
Well, yes, that as well. She wasn't exactly born to it like I was.
I imagine you'd be quite the young flame at 15 as well.
Oh, not so much of that. I was more focused on the woods and the plants and the growing, the grinding, and the making sure that people came in and went out healthy.
That's still a bit of a soul of adventure.
It's very generous of you to say so.
Well, I think we've taken enough of your time.
Oh, any time, dear. If you have need again, or if you get yourself bashed up another time and need more bandages, you know where to find me.
Yep. And for the garden, I'll let you know when I can spare about 8 hours.
That long. Well, so you know, it's still under frost and snow, and my old bones say there's more coming.
So long as
But-
they live under the surface, the effects will be felt when they come into bloom.
Well, you would know better than I, all this magic and so on. Never learned it. But, I'll take your word. Thank you.
Thank you.
She
Thank you.
waves and gathers up the, presumably emptied tea mugs and cups, and
Mm-hmm.
as you start to head out the door.
Should I heal up Alsana at all?
If you want to, you can. It's up to you whether you guys want to head into the forest now or later.
Yeah, no, like even just the small thing of the bandages and that like gave her like 1 hit point.
Oh, I'm gonna say that it's, yeah, sure, go ahead and take 1 hit point.
Okay.
It's not really a mechanic thing.
Seraphina probably has the healer perk, right?
Probably. If I were to make her a stat block, I could see that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just a small little thing.
Mhm.
All right. And just kind of as they're walking out, she'll like turn to Alaris and is like, "You told my brother I was that kind, and you're dead."
Mm.
Was that a yes or a no?
Deal.
Fine. Well, I'm being polite. You have a wonderful, cute kid.
Thank you.
Alright. Technically it is still morning. You have a day ahead of you. You can do as you please with it.
Could Kay and
Calda?
forget the name, Calda, have basically gone searching for anyone who's willing to offer mirrors or lamp oil to help with the reading of lights. More of a discussion of like, hey, we have a theory according to some people with magical know-how. We will return anything
Apparently,
we can.
according
I
to some
will-
goth bitch.
I would like to note quickly that Kalda picked up lamp oil back in Utah.
Yep, but just extra is
got
always nice.
Couple of spare vials right now, and she's got a vial in the lantern that has not been used yet. Basically, she's got 3 vials. You're good for 24 hours with that lantern. Continuous burning.
True, but we don't have much else to do, so might as well see if anyone's willing to help. Even especially with the mirrors, though,
Yeah.
more so than anything else.
Yeah, that's the thing. You ask around, and you get a lot of looks and scoffs and laughs, like people think you're joking. Mirrors are not common commodities. A mirror of actual glass. Most people, if they want to look at their reflection, they'll make use of some kind of polished metal or a bowl of water. An actual mirror, that's like wealthy stuff.
I'm not going.
you
Not going to that smarmy prick. Nope.
which points you at the Boltons, the Metacrags, maybe the Copper Kettles might have one that the whole family shares.
He might ask. It's like, alright, in that case, do you know anyone who might be good at polishing armor or anything like that?
Yeah, there's not much call for armor in this area either.
Yeah. Or just polishing anything, cleaning steel, whatever. Repairing tools.
Anybody here takes care of their own tools. They keep them in good repair. They keep them in shape. In shape for a farming community does not mean shiny.
Oh, worth a shot.
It means rust-free.
Right, in that case, Kane will sit down and take his shield and just slowly begin working at it until it's reflective.
Alright, is your shield made fully of metal then? It's not wood or...
Oh yeah, he's definitely got a steel shield.
Okay, sure. Roll for elbow grease. Let's see what would that be.
That'd be like a...
Just a wisdom check for how long you're willing to put into it.
I mean,
Constitution for what the
it'd be like a dex for the polishing, but like wisdom to know how to polish and...
I feel like polishing doesn't take much wisdom.
Yeah, no. Let's just do a constitution check to see how long you keep at it.
Oh, goddamn.
Yeah, you've got a pretty shiny steel shield. It's gonna take you a couple hours probably, but you keep at it.
And he'll sort of, I believe she has a shield. He'll recommend that Calder does the same. Does she have a shield?
She could have a very shiny blade.
She doesn't have one. She doesn't have one written down.
Okay, so maybe she does not have a shield.
Yep. In that case, he'll just hand her his mirror as he polishes the shield. He'll see if he can do the inside too, just in case. It's kind of hard to look at the outside of a shield while you're holding it.
Yeah. Do another con check.
Yeah.
Is Kane gonna be
Pretty
doing a
much
lot
as
more?
good. I think Kane is, that's
He's probably sitting on like the porch of the inn.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the middle part of your day.
Better question. Are we going for much longer, or can we take a break?
I did want to go and I did want to hit one last thing, but it's kind of an overnight thing.
Okay. Can I run to the washroom real quick then, please?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Take a quick 2 minutes.
Yeah. So yeah, guys, let me know if if you're spending the rest of the day in village, in town, or if you're heading out, or what, because...
Kane's gonna wait till Alsana gets back anyways.
Yeah, there's one thing I was hoping to do specifically with Alaris, and given that John has his work schedule, I don't want to put it off until next week and then miss out on it because he wasn't available to play at the beginning part. So.
Yeah, I'm in a rush. So.
Yeah.
Alright. We did start a little bit later as well.
Yeah, we'd be just getting to 3 hours in like half an hour.
So yeah, I've learned that a great deal of enemies doesn't matter so much when they're slow moving, and you guys can have plenty of time to pick them off.
Well, it's a zombie problem. It's if you can move faster than they can and still attack, they'll never hit you unless they have range.
Yeah. So I will keep that in mind. Any other lights need to attack you from much closer. That's probably why at least vines and twigs have that ambushy type ability where they're indistinguishable from surroundings.
Fucking bug.
Yeah, they don't do extra damage on an ambush attack.
Well, think of it like a tree. Like if a tree is like slowly rolling towards you down a hill, it's not likely to hit you. But if it falls on you and you're not expecting it, kind of fucked.
Yep. So, lesson learned. Also, John, someday you will be involved in combat in this game. Someday. I am sure it will come.
It's weird doing like just a high damage character, and like that's just what they do.
Yeah, because you're so used to all your spellcasters. Hi.
like the problem is no longer. It's like, oh, what effect do I want to do? It's always just like, oh, how do I position myself to not get hurt, and how do I hurt the other thing? Cool.
Mhm.
Keeps it simple.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yep. Okay.
Gotta get me some weird magic items to shore those defenses.
All right. Anybody else got something for this this midday and afternoon?
Mm. Well, Alsana might go and just ask everyone if they plan to go today.
Okay, kind of trust the last says, how often are the attacks usually?
Elaris, you know that they're usually like weeks and weeks apart. The fact that this one came just a few days after the last, it's a surprise.
Okay, so
Is he there?
Is John there?
push duck.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm
Okay,
on
good. Ooh, yeah. Okay.
Kayla kind of struck me like, I don't feel like overexerting ourselves, but I think we should do some at least preliminary investigative work if at all possible.
Alright, just...
See if talk to any other kids in the village, see if they know anything.
That might be worth it. What's the ages of Robert and Gage again?
Gage
Gage
is
is 11.
Robert is a couple of years younger. He is maybe 9. He might be 8, going on 9.
Okay. So she'll mention, I'll put the average probably around, probably 10 years of age. Do you know many other kids in the town, Alaris? I saw him playing, he was playing with a few of them before, was he not?
Yeah.
There's a scattering. There's
Yeah.
various ages. If you're after below 10,
Basically any kids
there's-
born after he had Alaris.
yeah, there's a scant handful, and some of those are literally just babies, so you're not going to get much conversation out of them.
That's what you think. Send Alsana in their case.
we just hold them up and be like, what do you see?
What do your baby eyes see?
Yeah, you'll get a little back.
Even
that'll
better.
be it.
Even better.
Little squeal and noises.
Cam just kind of stands up and goes, I think I have an idea.
Yes.
Really?
Baby
A
shit.
whole one.
Let's have a barbecue.
Excuse me?
Let's have a barbecue. The kids will come out, we'll give them some food, we'll see what they know, talk to them.
And where would you like to get the materials for a barbecue?
Well, we've got it in. We've got a river right there, good for fishing.
She kind of like, is like, I'm not one to fish, so
In that case, the end's your choice.
you want me to aid in this?
Unless you'd rather go door to door asking, sure.
I'm not going door to door asking. I'm asking Alaris how many kids are born after his.
And you're gonna knock on the door and say, hey, I need to speak to your children. Are you?
Elaris, there's about 4 kids born after Gage, not including Robert.
Not including,
Three of
including
them-
Robert.
3 of them are literal babies. The other one is about 7 years old and is kind of a tag along to Robert the way that Robert's tag along to Gage.
Mm.
Duckling train of children sometimes.
Does Alaris bring this up?
Yeah.
Alright. And she'll just go, No, brother. What I intend to do is ask Alaris to ask his son to keep an eye out for, well, that other one as well. See if it's... If Robert sees something, maybe have him ask that one. Or anything like that. Send word, just... If they've seen it before. If there's any locations we can narrow down.
Might be
And-
worth it to ask a few that are just a year or two older. Might have seen it the past year or so.
And she looks over to ours. Well, it's your son who's around them. You'd have the best opportunity. Alternatively, we could go spring for a barbecue right after the town has been attacked multiple times.
We've got the kindling.
She kind of like looks like, yes, the kindling, so much better suited for roasting ribs than having a wall of fire to keep them away.
Suit yourself, spoil sport.
I'll do some more scouting of the area. I can stay quick and out of the way with my broom. And
If you find any bodies, let me know.
and if I need to, I can also make it harder for anything I come across to go anywhere. Though I might review my spells, as given recent developments.
Well, not much I can do to help you there, so.
No, I just in the morning, perhaps.
Kind of shrugs and pulls out his fishing pole and says, well, I'm gonna get lunch. The river is like right nearby, right?
It's like a mile or two down the way, so you know,
20-minute
if
walk.
you don't mind taking, if you don't mind taking a bit of a walk.
Not like you can do much for now, so
Okay. Middle down to
might
the river.
try to catch it a couple extra for the innkeep.
All right. Head to the river. The edges are pretty iced over. There is still a flow down the middle, though.
He uses his glaive to make sure he's walking on safe ground.
Yeah, you can tap tap chunk chunk. Go ahead and for fishing, go ahead and try survival check.
Oh, I had a good bonus.
Yeah. How long are you planning on staying out there?
A couple hours.
Do one more.
Alright.
First hour goes by, nothing. Not even a nibble. You go ahead and you get up, you shift position, tap 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 with the glaive as you go, till you find maybe a better spot. Throw the line in, and you actually come up with a few decent fish that hadn't gone to sleep. Mostly like bottom feeders, but you get a pretty hefty one, and then a couple others that are at least good sized, worth keeping.
Okay. He'll kind of wrap up the largest one and start what's called descaling and deboning them. Then head.
Okay. That takes up another couple hours and almost an hour more for travel. Call it 3 hours of your day. It's getting on towards afternoon for you, whatever the others have been up to in that time.
So would you say
And
you got
I'll say,
4 fish total about?
yeah, let's go ahead and put it at 4.
Okay, so he'll wrap up the largest 2 and keep the other 2 for himself.
Okay. Around this time, like mid to late afternoon probably, the sky has slowly been building up with clouds. They're sweeping in from kind of up north.
If that is noticed, Alsan will pull up a druidcraft.
You already checked like the last yesterday, and the weather did show some snow.
Yep.
Druidcraft for like today through tomorrow, again, snow early and then it goes to clouds.
Alright.
So it'll clear up at some point during all that. But...
Yep, that's what she was wondering.
Druidcraft, I think, specifically tells you what the weather will be in 24 hours in this location. Let me look.
Or the next 24
hours. Yeah, that's a little bit...
I imagine it kind of loops.
Yeah, it's gonna loop. So yes, you see the snow immediately, and then it slackens off, and then there's just clouds.
Alright. Is it too much to ask for a thunderstorm in the middle of winter?
Possibly.
Oh, by the way, I was looking over my notes. Would you like it if I set your bolts on fire?
Like,
That's a question.
huh?
No, I'm not destroying them. It's simply you'd be applying fire to whatever you shot them with.
Oh, like imbuing them with flame,
You've seen the ones
not
with
just burning them.
You've seen the ones with the kind of you know the little packings on the end that are dipped in oil and lit aflame just simply for lighting fire?
Mm-hmm.
These can do the same but keep the point.
Oh. Sounds like a good idea.
Yes, it seems the drier versions of the blade are more susceptible, although the green ones are seemingly neutral. But if that's the case and we're to deal with more of them, then that could work very well. Also, if you've... GM question.
Yes.
Does Alaris's crossbow make up for magical damage?
Do you mean?
For the sake of resistances and the like.
Yes, yeah, it is magical for sake of resistance.
So,
I'm pretty sure.
and by that, the arrows would be as well? Or the bolts, rather, even without the spell?
The bolts that are being fired by it, yes. But if you took a bolt from his case and applied it to an ordinary crossbow, then no. So it's kind of one of those things.
Okay, yep.
One of those things where the ammunition has to be special just because it comes from the container that shot it.
I just had this wonderful image of Alaris running up to the plates and smacking them over the head with the butt of the crossbow.
Yes, but, yeah, so I'll keep that in mind and probably prepare flame arrows once she wakes up tomorrow.
Okay.
But, yep, for now, just, yeah, that's it. Sorry, continue.
Okay. Well, you've got the rest of your day to prepare. The festivities from the morning settle down by the time noon rolls around. People have gone back to their days, their ordinary day-to-day lives in the and at the end of winter, as such as it is. People aren't holding up until the clouds really start rolling in, and then they start kind of going back to their homes, in particular those that have been out. They don't have too much reason for being outside as the weather starts to kick up.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Sophia mentioned they keep lampvine on the trees.
Yes.
Would you have noticed much in the area?
They keep lampvine on the trees for the graveyard.
Okay.
Yeah.
How far out is the graveyard?
Bit of a trek outside of town. I'd say it's off the map, so probably it's over 100 feet. It might be more like 200.
Alright, well, hop on the broom.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where it's just gravestones on the side of a hill.
Yeah, but more so, how does she know if Lampvine kind of keeps its properties after it's been harvested for long?
Do another nature check.
Alright.
Because I realized that the book I wrote it down that was across the room.
14.
Yeah, it actually does fairly well. There's a bit of a thing where you take a cutting of lampvine with you if you're going into an area you think might be dangerous, and I'm pretty sure it lasts for at least a day or two. I've got notes across the room. I'm gonna say the 14 is not enough for precision.
Alright. Well, she'll keep it in mind and just kind of remind herself to grab some before they decide to go out properly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you're going out towards the graveyard?
Well, actually, no. She said she might do some things, so yeah, she's gonna fly over to the graveyard.
Okay. It's not terribly difficult to find because mention was made of a tree, um, and yes, there is some lamp vine. It doesn't seem to be actively blooming at the moment, but you see a tree bare of leaves for the winter, um, over this area of hill where the snow seems to rise in lumps and hillocks. There's gravestones underneath, um, and the branches of the tree itself are wound with these um, dark colored vines, a glossy green underneath the snow and ice. And you actually see some very tightly packed little buds at lengths along the vine, waiting for spring, perhaps.
Uh,
Yes. So you touch one of the buds and you see it swell and bloom into um, this vibrant orange red color, this bulbous shaped blossom, almost a sphere that comes to not quite a point, it doesn't close, but the tips of the petals flare back outwards at the very bottom.
I sent you something similar to this before, didn't I?
Yes, I did take inspiration from the lantern
All right.
plants. They're not identical. The bulbs, the flowers are actually bigger. This one's maybe the size of like a good-sized navel orange.
All right.
Fits comfortably in a hand, and there is a luminous glow coming from it.
All right. Then she'll just kind of take that and tie it to the top of the broom.
Okay.
Maybe just with some string she has on her. And
Alright.
she'll hop back on and do just a kind of vague patrol of the forest about 15 feet off the ground. Like her head
Okay,
just kind of, or well, yeah, maybe not
it's
15.
the opposite direction of the forest, but you can turn around.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, she flies over the town over like
Yeah.
fighting the urge to cackle as she does so.
All right. And you're gonna do just a little back and forth sweep in the verges of the forest?
Verges and maybe just a little bit further.
Alright.
And she's basically floating up as close as she can to the tree, kind of like tree line.
Okay. How many hours are you gonna spend on that?
How long is Kane doing his shield?
Kane was doing the shield for probably 3 or 4 hours front and back, and then he went and spent another 3 or so hours fishing. I would say that puts the end of his day, or end of that part, at about 4 or 5 p.m.
Alright, yeah,
equivalent.
she'll spend about 3 hours.
Alright, go ahead and make 3 perception checks.
Alright. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, by the end there at that 8, the snow is really starting to come down and give you trouble. In the beginning, you were more getting the feel for about how high you needed to fly and ducking and avoiding branches and tree trunks and so on and weaving your way through. Kind of in the middle, is there anything in particular you're looking for, or are you just doing a sweep to see if there are any more blight or other creatures?
She's doing blight, but she's more so specifically keeping an eye on the lantern.
Okay.
And
Alright,
just,
yeah,
on the lookout for anything that really moves that's larger than a squirrel.
Okay. You're actually not getting much in terms of animals moving around either, because, again, of the weather that is showing up.
Ah, crap. I always forget. She has guidance.
I'm gonna have to keep that in mind. But yes, for time being, the lantern does not dim as you are traveling through the woods. You keep an eye out for blight. If any are in the area, though, then you do not see them, and you're pretty sure that you're being sharp-eyed enough that if there were any, you'd catch a glimpse. But the forest is still and silent under the falling snow.
So kind of like
Until the snow becomes almost a thick blanket in the air. It becomes harder to see, and your shoulders and head is caked in it, and your fingers are going numb.
She'll warm herself up.
Yep.
She'll give maybe like a kind of like a just kind of a slight frustration, really, that she hasn't found much. She'll give like a kind of good like 15 minutes going just straight into the forest,
Okay.
and then the other 15 just coming right back where she came from.
Okay. One more perception check and slap the guidance on there if you want.
Ugh.
And a d4.
14.
Alright, 15 minutes, you fly in. You still don't really notice any dimming of the light on your broom. And you're doing a bit better. The snow isn't coming down quite as thickly where the branches cover more of the sky, despite having no leaves and being bare for winter. But you fly in. All you notice is somehow, even though the canopy isn't really getting that much thicker, sure, there's more branches and twigs, but it's open. The feel of the forest, it's like your perception, your senses, have it in your mind that it's getting darker and darker and darker as you go in. Even though when you look up the sky, the light level of the clouds, the light bouncing or casting through them, hasn't changed. It just feels oppressive and
She's gonna stop and
close.
yeah, she's gonna stop there for a bit.
Okay.
She's gonna listen for anything she might hear, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. You listen. Silence. Falling snow. No birds, no beasts. Sharp crack! You whirl around and you see a branch fall, weighted down by the snow and the ice. Finally gave out.
Glad no one was around.
You hear the snow settling on top of it with a little whisper. You hear another whisper. Somewhere, maybe just your mind. It doesn't seem to be coming from anywhere. You turn and you look for it in all directions. There's really nothing that seems to narrow it down, and it fades after a moment.
She'll check the lamp.
The lamp is still bright.
Well, if you can hear back, give me a hand, will you? She'll just kind of stand there, sit there for like another minute, sigh, and start making her way back.
Alright. Make your way back to the village. Probably thoroughly caked in snow by now. The village is, you see smoke coming from chimneys, you see lights shining from windows, between the cracks around the shutters. But it seems to have pretty much closed down in the outdoor sense. You see Kane trudging up the road with a couple of fish hanging from a string in one hand, a couple more wrapped up under an arm.
Kind of just like puts by on the broom.
By this time, the sky itself is actually starting to grow just a little bit darker. You get the sense that if the sun were out, it would be getting low towards the horizon. Not quite setting, but approaching.
When did
If
you
you
say
want
the
rooms...
when did you say the recharge on Animal Messenger was?
I believe it was once a day.
Once a day?
Yeah, but you do need a small animal of some kind that within range to cast it on.
And she didn't see much in the way of birds during that whole thing, I'm guessing.
No, you didn't see any. Yeah. It was a quiet wood given the snow and probably also the nature of things and events.
Also, just as she kind of goes by Kane, she might seem just a bit paler than usual, which is kind of saying something. But she'll head to the inn, warm up.
Yep. And at the inn, you can get the same rooms for another night. Ilaris, you go back with your family to your home.
Yep.
You have a comfortable dinner. You stay warm inside with the fire. Curl up in blankets when it's time to go to bed. You drift off peacefully. And you know you're asleep. But you open your eyes. And you're in a gray, misty place. You can see a little bit of bare stone, rocky ground beneath you, almost featureless, a few pebbles scattered about. Rock formation in the distance, perhaps. Just gray mist all around you. You've seen this before. You know this place. You know the voice that comes from behind you. It's deep, it's earthy, it rumbles. There is a almost resonant phonic quality to it. Something I, as a GM, cannot do justice, so imagine. It says, "You've grown. Is it your intent to go within the wood?
Yes.
With these others?"
Yes.
It is for the best. Had you gone alone even as much as you have grown, even as far as you had come, it would have pushed the inevitability forward, and that would be a waste. But with them, you may survive, for a time at least. Long enough to do what must be done, perhaps.
What must be done?
Cleansing. The return of things to their proper place. The dead should not walk these lands, and neither should those that belong to the lands of the dead. All things have their time, and some things cheat that time. So, what do you do when a
What
door
do
must be closed?
Wait, what did he just ask me?
What do you do when a door must be closed?
Close the door.
And is it always that simple? And he gestures with a hand, and right in front of a rock formation, you see a tear in the air itself, as if the mist was fabric or something solid at the very least. And it widens, and you see something dark starting to claw its way through. You see a jaw, teeth a muzzle, with great sharp fangs, black as pitch, burning eyes set in a canine face. It struggles its way through the rift. You have your crossbow in your hands. It's snarling. It's growling. It's lunging for you. What do you do?
Oh, wow.
The presence behind you offers no word and no aid. You look, he vanishes.
Take a shot.
You have barely a moment. The being, this canine of shifting shadows trailing almost to smoke behind it, is through the rift. It's charging towards you. It gathers itself to leap.
If you're talking, we can't hear you.
Take a shot.
You take a shot. You pull the trigger. Chunk. It hits the dog. But then the beast bowls you over, and you have snapping jaws in your face. You have very little room for your crossbow. The dog's weight is heavy across you. It lunges, teeth going for your throat. You would have had time for a second shot if it was an attack action. Do you have 2 shots? I'm pretty sure you do, as a...
I do, but I just hold my hand out,
You hold your hand out?
hoping that something happens.
It bites down at you. Teeth close on nothing. You manage to jerk out of the way just in time. There's snarling, there's yelping. You hear something else through that rift moving. And you get the sense that time is short. And you get another sense, as you are in a dream, as these senses come, that there is a hollowing beneath the earth beneath you. That something is opening up. About 6 foot long, 6 foot deep, perhaps. There's a thin crust of earth holding you up right now. There's a stone behind your head. What do you do?
I grab the stone.
No, not a small stone. A large one. You crane your head back and look. It looks like a gravestone.
A gravestone?
You have the sense that you're about to fall into something. Perhaps a grave. The dog bites down at you again.
That
Its
hits.
teeth connect. You feel its mouth closed around your neck and throat. It's starting to pull and shake and thrash. Do you do anything?
Wait, he said when you have to close a door, perhaps it's not that simple, right?
Yes. And then he demonstrated. Do you do anything?
I run. I try to get it. I try to get it off. I try to get the dog off of me, and then I try to run for the portal.
How do you try to get the dog off of you? Are you pushing? Kicking? Trying to roll
I'm gonna
away?
try and use sword burst to try and get it off of me.
Alright. Swordburst doesn't actually push it away, however. Yeah. It ducks underneath the spectral blades. And it's still harrying you. It goes for another bite. 20 to hit, 9 piercing damage. How are you doing? I'm sure you have more than 20 hit points. Just informally keeping count.
Yeah.
So, it's bitten you again, this time on the shoulder. You feel its paws tearing at you, the claws sharp, but not sharp enough to attack with. But there's a definite pressure of them as they scrape across your limbs, your stomach, your chest, as the dog dances, repositions itself, lunges. What do you do?
I honestly have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing.
You could shoot it with your crossbow.
I could.
Will you?
Yeah, sure. I'll shoot it twice.
Okay. The first one connects solidly, the second one whizzes off into the darkness. Feel the
Okay,
ground
how
beneath
far
you
away is the
cracking.
portal?
Perhaps about 20, 25, 30 feet. It's hard to say, it's a dream.
Perfect.
Alright. Are you Misty stepping just in front of the portal?
Yeah.
Dog's teeth close on Mist. You hear the snapping and snarling behind you now. The wuffling noise as the dog sniffs, turns around, deep building growl coming from its throat and chest. It charges towards you. And it attacks you again.
I put one foot into the portal and see what happens.
You feel something inside the portal grab your ankle. Bony fingers around your ankle. You look inside and you see a sea of darkness, of bones and rot, shadows shifting. And it's clawing its way, everything in there is clawing its way towards this rift, this opening. There's a dog of shadows on one side, harrying you. There's death on the other. There's a grave where you were laying beneath the dog a moment ago, and the ground around it is cracking. Earth starting to fall inside in clods. What do you do?
As I want to wait until the very last moment as it's charging at me, and then I want to try and thunderstep out of there, and then try and force the dog back into the portal.
Alright. So you thunderstep out of the way. And how would you like to force the dog into the portal? How far away do you thunderstep? Do you plan on dodging, seeing if the dog runs through? Do you plan on giving it a
Yeah.
push?
Yeah, I plan on basically, as the dog runs through.
It charges through the area of the thunderstep. You hear a snarl, not so much as a yelp, as the thunder impacts it. The sound should carry great distance, but it almost seems to be swallowed in this misty, liminal place. The dog stops short of the portal. The things that had been grabbing at your leg also got pushed, perhaps hurt by your thunderstep, but you can hear them, see them, sense them, starting to resurge, starting to claw their way through. The dog wheels around, faces you. What do you do?
I try and kick it into the portal.
Give an athletics check for basically a shove. Alright. Put your boot on the back side of it. Give it a good push. It falls through the portal on its side, but not very far. You can already see it scrambling to its clawed feet, its paws on the other side. It's still snarling, there's drool dripping from its fangs. There's foam building at the corners of the mouth.
Can I see anything that I'd see that could possibly close the portal?
What do you think could possibly close the portal? Look around.
So do I just make a perception check then?
What do you think could close the portal? What are you looking for?
Well, what do I see?
Mist. Stones. And now yawning grave behind you, empty. Waiting. Portal. Things trying to claw their way towards it. Through it. More mist.
I walk towards the grave.
Empty.
What's etched? Is there anything etched onto the gravestone?
Not yet. No, you get the impression that there could be. It's not filled yet, it's not owned yet. But it's there. And it always will be. Until something is put inside.
I put myself in the grave.
You hear a faint sigh. And everything goes away. You're just standing in this barren, stony area, surrounded by mist. You give up so easily. Do you seek your grave?
No.
And yet you leapt towards it.
Perhaps I have much to learn.
You do. For instance, this realm is in between, this place we meet. It is not my realm. Not exclusively. It is also yours, from your mind, part of your dream. So, he lifts a hand, gloves on his fingers, off of the staff where he carries the lantern with purple light cast. He snaps. And another rift opens in midair. When a door that should not be opened is, what do you do?
Close it.
And when the closing is within your own mind, make a charisma check. You reach out, you struggle with it. Slowly the edges creep back together, the mist's torn apart, reforming. You almost have it. And then it opens back up. Once again, Xanthus raises a hand, snaps his finger, and it seals shut again. Not so easy. Not even here, where your control counts for more than you might think. When you find Doors that should be closed, close them. Think creatively, but don't leap towards your end. Inevitable as it is, it could be distant, depending on the choices you make.
Okay.
You carry my bow. You carry that pearl. Use them well. Use them. If you die out there, then that will be it. I will have to search for a new champion. Run towards your end, find it early, meet it, and that will be the end. This is your one warning.
Okay.
He fades away into the mists.
What?
The mists remain for a while. And slowly the dream fades away. And you enter in more ordinary sleep. For everybody else, it's a fairly normal night. You might have your ordinary jumbled dreams here and there, or perhaps it passes without any confusion or visions or anything of the sort. Alsana, as much as you may hope, there is no incarnation of death or any part of it that visits you in your dream.
I guess he's shy.
You sleep through the night as the snow falls and then lessens. You finally awaken in the morning to a slight fresh blanket laid on top of the snow that was already there from the winter. The day is ahead of you, and that's where we're going to go ahead and end the session.
Alright.
Man, I was like
Yeah.
seriously panicking. Like, what the fuck do I do?
Yeah.
That's what a DM is for.
I know.
That was me poking at your buttons and seeing what you would decide to do.
Yeah, because like
I realized that
I-
certain
I-
things
I-
seemed like hints, but they weren't
there were
meant
like
to
a
be.
couple of things that I wanted to do, but like I thought maybe I could tame the wolf, and then that didn't work, and then possibly maybe like shove the wolf in the thing, but I couldn't find a way to fucking close the portal, and then I was just like, well, fuck.
Yeah. It was purely meant to be an exercise in what's the character, what's the player gonna think up. And also maybe a little bit of conversation with the patron, the force of nature.
Also, punishment for being late.
Not so much that, it was I desperately wanted to get to it at least sometime.
You got a patron, dude. Come on. Gotta do this stuff.
Punishment for being late is not going to be part of combat.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, as
XP.
for XP, from the Blight attack, divided 4 ways, it is really only 225 XP each.
I will take what I can get.
Yeah, make sure you put it on Calda's sheet as well.
Yep, already got it open.
Thank you. So yeah, I've had learning experiences. I don't know about you guys.
Hmm.
Yep.
I just want to do a barbecue, man.
Maybe
Alaris
another
is
day.
fucking shaken to his core at this point.
Shooketh.
Oh god.
Oh, we can explore that next time on the Shadow Threshold.
Fuck, man.
Oh shit, doors. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
You just put that one together.
Alright, Alsana.
Okay, I want to know exactly what you've put together here.
Oh, just doors.
Yeah, no, because I
Doors.
like wanted to try things with that whole encounter, but it was just like, yeah, no,
Yeah, it wasn't a
didn't go so well.
formal encounter with a map and all that stuff and initiative. It was purely my turn, your turn, my turn, your turn. What you gonna do in this situation?
Yeah, but I feel like that whole thing doesn't really reflect the character because me as a player didn't know what to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's part of figuring out the character, though.
Yep.
Yeah,
It's session 3,
I
literally.
know because like I feel like he would have tried to
Yeah,
either tame
you
the
can
wolves
still
or
have an
seal the
idea of the
portals.
character
Yeah,
too, like and not
yeah,
do it just because it's season session 3.
I know. It's just
And also, the dice aren't always on your side.
We're gonna
I
get there.
know.
We're gonna get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just waiting to see, like, alright, we got the Warlock dream sequence. We've got the crazy emo girl dream sequence. We've got the Paladin's dream sequence. And we've got a barbecue.
Oh man.
Character
Yeah,
challenge, small
no.
talk.
Oh man.
Okay. Also, god damn it, Devin, with that nat 20 religion
Ah,
check for the soul, I'm
That
gonna
was really
surprise
good.
things,
That
and
was
then it's like,
clutch.
he knows everything. She knows everything.
unfortunately, yeah, I was just like, oh, the kid sees it and the adults don't. Huh? Where have I seen this
Yep.
before? Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
sorry, but it balanced out.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah.
Oh man. So we're doing a one shot on Saturday.
Yep.
Yep. Well, anything relevant for the game right now past that?
I don't believe so. I think you
Um.
guys are all set.
Oh,
Unless you
I
know
guess
something.
a small thing.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
likely
We're
would
still recording.
Alsana how likely would Alsana be to find a bird of some sort in the next coming day?
You know it's possible. You know that it was mentioned that there are some small birds, small beasts at the very edges of the forest, but the deeper you go in, the less likely it seems to become, as
All
the
right.
more
Okay.
dangerous it
All right.
becomes.
Could I?
Also,
Fish for bait.
Ariel. Oh
Huh?
fuck. Yeah, Ariel. I
Fish for
didn't
bait.
actually expect the Warlock dream sequence. I was expecting like Alaris goes to sleep and then like suddenly wakes up out of instinct because Aurora and or Gage are in danger. I was like, oh
Yep.
no,
I was waiting
Oh
for the
oh
kids to
no,
be
oh
in
no.
danger.
no.
No, that was Warlock Dream Sequence time. That was you are finally going into the Forest of Death that your patron knew you were not prepared for alone. So you were going in with the others, and the patron's finally like, okay, yeah, you might be able to handle it now, but let me see how you're going to handle something else as well.
Apparently the answer is swan dive into his fucking dirt nap.
Not that
To be
suicidal.
fair, I knew as I was describing it that it sounded like hints rather than ominous warnings.
True, but which hint you pull out also says something. Like Devin's is to shoot it with a weapon.
Yeah.
I mean, it was doing attack rolls.
I think it's just the ash coming
And
out.
no,
Yeah,
and
there was a beast to attack. That
yeah,
was fair.
And now I'm fucking with them.
yeah,
It's shooting
sure,
the
man.
portal.
Whatever
I
you
just
say.
wanted to see if he was going to try shooting the portal, or if he was going to try something a little more esoteric, or
To be fair, he did try.
Yeah, I tried shooting at the thing, and then I tried taming the thing. That didn't work.
Yeah, you were
Threw it
focusing
into
on the
it.
Do the
beast
whole
being
thing
a
where you
little
hold out the hand and then possibly the thing stops and it's just like, whoa, what's
How to
going
Train Your
on
Dragon
here?
moment.
Yeah. Yeah, the How to Train Your Dragon thing.
Yeah. Not in this case, I'm afraid. In this
No,
case, I
he
was ready
just
to
tried
take
to
your
bite
head
my
off.
hand off. So, yeah, that didn't work.
Yep.
Not
I
every beast
wish.
that is black as night is like toothless.
Yep. Pretty much. This is a bad dog.
Bad dog.
He's a bad.
Bone.
He's a strong bad dog.
Yeah. God, I
Alright.
wish I could. I wish I could make my voice deep enough to do some of these characters justice. I cannot.
Download the clownfish, man.
Huh?
Download the clownfish and just drop that pitch way down.
Hmm.
Pitch shift
Maybe.
down.
I wish I had it open. I would have just been like the.
Oh, sorry, I got cut off earlier. Is the group doing anything in the immediate hour once they get up?
That's up to them.
Okay, I'm asking because I'd like to know if Osana is able to go looking for a bird and get a bird and send a message that I could write that message to you, like, in between the week.
I'd say that if you want to write that message, then Alsana could probably try and find a bird if she wants to make that intention clear to the rest of the party in the morning.
Okay.
Kane has fish you can use to find bird.
Oh god.
Whatever you...
Yeah.
Don't think that's how that works.
It might be, depends on the type of bird.
Oh, hey, a pelican.
That would be the best animal messenger. Are you kidding me? Nah, you can get like a small piece, but you're not gonna give the whole fish.
Sorry, flamingo.
There we go. Not a raven. I thought Elsana could just call them by willing.
I'm gonna... I she has access to conjure animal.
Flock of raisin. Ravens, not raisins.
Yes, flock off
Yeah.
Featherface.
I'll say if she conjures an animal and puts the thing on, she's gonna have to concentrate on that conjuration, and it's only gonna
Did I
last
hear
as long as the
flock of
animal's going.
raisins?
Yeah, briefly.
It's like a bunch of grape spores.
But basically, the animal messenger amulet thing you have is limited in certain ways, but it's also more extensive in others.
Yep.
It lasts until the message gets there.
Mhm.
If you try to stick it on a conjured beast, you could run into duration problems.
Yeah. No, I just meant more so, yes, she has the capacity to summon a bunch of ravens.
Okay, yes, she does.
But yeah, I intended to go find like a I don't know, like a no, not like a finch, but I don't know, there's some pigeons or any pigeons around, any doves,
There might be.
little poof
Yeah.
balls, kind of sat on a branch with a little bit of snow on their head.
There very well could be. Spring is on its way, so
Maybe an
you
owl
know,
because Ariel is jamming.
birds have shown up. You know, hopeful for the coming fall.
Yeah, given the spot though.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
Owls are not impossible.
I'm also, I sort of I'm trying not to Richter it up again.
Mm-hmm.
You did a pretty shite job at it.
But no, I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to, Conrad. But just in terms of, oops, I guessed it. The anti-undead guy is saying, hey, fix this forest.
Yeah.
Hey, doors are open and closing, and oh, did Elsa get the plot early? She gets spoilers. Is Elsa the Tom Holland of this party?
Not yet.
It's like, oh, Threshold Season 3. Well, I didn't even know it was Season 2. What?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Okay, I think if that's all, I'll end the recording here.
Okay, go ahead. Till next time.
Fuck.